In a world where voices are silenced,
Please.
one man refuses to lie down.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
He's been punted not once,
40 years they've been trying.
not twice,
You couldn't fire somebody if they were horrible, doing a terrible job.
but 3 times.
You're fired.
He doesn't tell you what to think, but gives you something to think about. Welcome to the Bonafide podcast with Luke Boner. And he's not
All right, here we go.
done
Hold your ears, folks.
yet.
It's showtime.
So, folks, g'day and welcome to an unusual Bonafide podcast today because we are coming to you from
Live.
live
really.
in a world where you come live from casino. We are at the Casino Truck Show and we're in a function centre within the Richmond Valley Council chambers, and we are doing the podcast this weekend because we have flown from Sydney to Ballina,
Yes.
got in a Kia rental, and we've driven to the mighty metropolis that is Casino. And this is bigger than I ever thought. Now, we've met some lovely people so far. We have met Tian,
Yes.
Stanner,
Yep.
Darren Goodwin,
Yep.
and Eliza
Yes.
from now Darren is one of the originals that started the Casino Truck Show many years ago. And what they put on here, folks, I had no idea. Rod Hannafy tried to warn me. They could have 800, 900 trucks if they wanted. They had to cap it at 550.
Yeah.
Because when you think of trucks and
They're huge.
well, it's not just
They're not bringing their trailers though, are they?
some of them are because they're on their way to a job.
True.
Rod Hannafy is joining us for our panel from the main street on the Saturday, and he has got a load. He's stopping here with us, and then he's on his way somewhere.
Wow.
Because you don't drive empty.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It doesn't make fiscal sense, does it? So anyway, it is massive. We'll tell you more about that down the track. But this is the podcast where I don't tell you what to think. We like to give you something to think about. So we love to get your feedback, and we'll get into that shortly. Jump on in, get involved, because without you, it's nothing. And leave us a voice message on 0291289311 or give us your thoughts to community@bonafidepod.com. And remember to follow, subscribe, because it helps us find new audiences.
And this is going out on the Friday. So if you are around the casino area, make sure you stop by the casino night lights.
Do you remember when I was on Triple M? I used to do a thing that was very popular called the Quickie.
Yeah.
And I would play a fraction of a second of a popular song and people had to guess what it was. It was pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
I gave away an extra prize if you could give me the year. So we're going to do the Quickie
Live.
from the main stage on our special Bonafide podcast Casino Truck Show. And I think we might reintroduce the Quickie and give away some Bonafide merch. Now,
Yes.
I'm wearing one of the T-shirts here. Can I turn around?
Sure.
Okay.
Just don't break anything.
Because we're precariously set up here in...
He's going to break something.
Can you see that? Does it...
It's good.
Oh, was that my ass? Anyway, we're going to give away T-shirts and a few other things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So coming up, we're going to talk to Green Senator David Shoebridge. Senator David Shoebridge has some interesting things to say about pecuniary interests, declaring donations. And he's got some very interesting things to say about Qantas. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it's very interesting. And
Well, something I was saying before when we were on the plane up here, Luke, I didn't know until I listened back to David's interview that Qantas used to be publicly owned.
absolutely,
I didn't know that.
That was the thing. And that's why...
Bring it back. Bring back the public airline.
Well, that's what David Shoebridge says. He says get rid of it and then make it owned by the people again. What else? Oh, have you heard of Josh Nancarrow?
I have now.
Now this is an interesting bloke that I've spoken to before on the wireless. Josh Nancarrow won't tell you that he's a shark expert, but he has spent most of his life around sharks. He's a fisherman. He's based in Newcastle, and he's got this amazing business called Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration, and you can find it online. Anyway, he says the problem isn't necessarily great whites, which we're all immediately scared of because of the movie Jaws. He says the real threat are bull sharks.
Yeah.
Which are really, really resilient.
Yeah.
These sharks can hunt in brackish water, dark water where there's no visibility, fresh water, So they go up the channels. You know those man-made channels on the Gold Coast up in Queensland? You'll find bull sharks at Parramatta that started the Hawkesbury and go into Sydney Harbour and go upstream. And so they're aggressive. They take no prisoners and unbelievably resilient. So we're going to talk to this. He's an amazing character. He is waiting for a device to be manufactured and sold that can transmit some sort of a tone, some sort of a radio transmission that will repel sharks. As yet, there is nothing on the market that is scientifically proven so that you can guarantee it. There are people who have these devices that you wear on your ankle or your wrist, and they'll say, according to our trials, they work. Well, their trials doesn't cut the mustard when it comes to being able to claim it works when you're selling a product. I'll give you an example. It's an extreme example, but it's a good example. Peter Brock's polarizer.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Brock was 100% sure that the polarizer made of magnets, crystals and wires, when put inside a Commodore, made it go better. He staked his reputation on it to the extent he was sacked by Holden.
Yeah.
He was the Holden special team, the Holden dealer team, Holden special vehicle team, golden boy. Well, they had a huge bust up because he said, I'm putting my name to this. And Holden said, well, no, we can't say it works because scientifically there's no proof and we can't charge an extra $800 a vehicle because of this polarizer. Same thing with the shark transmitters. Nothing yet has passed the CSIRO and other scientific benchmarks to be able to say you can sell this with the confidence of it working. So we'll talk to him. He's an interesting character. Now, Ben Downie is Channel 7's bureau chief head in London and in the UK. Massive fires going throughout Europe at the moment, particularly in France and Spain. And
they're massive.
We're all used to bushfires here. Well, here's the thing. They are now saying, it's climate change. But as you'll hear with Ben Downie, a lot of these fires were deliberately lit.
I know, but because of climate change, it's burning a lot stronger.
More ferociously.
Than it would. Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's drier. So
anyway, there's a new PM in town in the UK, and we'll see how he's settling in. I tell you what, the polls are showing that the change in leadership in the Labor Party in the UK was the right decision. He's not going to call an early election. He's going to see it out. So it's interesting they have 5-year terms in the UK. We have 4.
We already had a listener say, do not suggest that we change our term of prime ministership in Australia.
Well, I think 3 is not enough.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Yeah,
because you spend the first year blaming the mob that you inherited the government from. You've only got 12 months to introduce policy. Then you spend the third year campaigning for the election.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know. Is there a perfect politics in the world? I don't know. All of them. I don't know what would be the best. You know.
Well, I don't know. You look at the United States that have their own constitution when they broke away from the UK in the Westminster system, and you've got a president who says the first election was rigged, possibly the second election was rigged, and I'm going to go for another term when constitutionally you can only go 2 terms. Don't have to be consecutively. I'll tell you this, I'd rather our way than America at the moment.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone would.
Can I just say this to you?
What?
There's an old saying, Kelsey, that when the United States sneezes, the world catches a cold. I'm going to say this. The United States has more than sneezed, and the whole world is now shitting blood.
Oh, stop. Oh.
Also, I want to talk about, with Ben Downie, the phenomenon that is Clarkson's Farm, which you put us onto.
Yeah.
I love this show on so many levels. But Hawkston's Lager is massive, and we're going to talk about Hawkston's Lager and can you get it in Australia? Will you get it in Australia? And would you drink it? You see, in the UK, one of the most popular lagers was Foster's, which was like a symbol of Australia.
Yeah.
No one in Australia drank Foster's.
No.
But everyone in the UK did. Is it going to flick around and are we going to start drinking Hawkston's Lager?
Maybe.
Ben's saying the pub around the corner has it on tap, but it's always running out.
Oh, yeah.
They can't get enough of it. It's actually now served
But the question
on
is,
British Airways.
Well, the question is it actually good beer or is it just a fad?
What else have we got coming up?
The Man Cave.
Oh, the Man Cave with Adam. And we'll have a bit of fun with that as well and talk about some of the issues of the day.
And just a quick one with that. Just a little bit of an adult content warning on that one. Maybe don't play it out loud if you've got kids in the car.
If there are little ears around, don't put your headphones in.
Yeah.
The inflation figures have showed inflation pressures have eased slightly. Will the Reserve Bank then, when they meet next, will they keep interest rates where they are? Will they lower them, put them up? My prediction is they'll stay where they are.
Yeah, it does. They are saying now with the statistics that came out today, the interest rate is going to probably stay the same, which is good for us, right?
It is, unless you're a self-funded retiree where you got a lot of money invested and you want interest rates to go up.
Yeah.
It goes both ways because you want people's superannuation funds to continue to grow so that when we do retire, we're not a burden on the taxpayer wanting a pension.
Yeah.
So swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
But if you're someone your age and you want interest rates lower so that you're not paying an excessive mortgage, I get that.
Yeah.
But if you've got a lot of your money invested in a retirement fund that is depending on interest rates going up so that you keep that return going, you want them to go up.
But the thing
is the banks don't always pass it on straight away.
No.
Trump originally and the Bushes and let me think, Ronald Reagan, a number of the Republican...
all of the Republican presidents.
Yeah, they believed in what's called trickle-down economics. Now, do you understand what that means?
Oh, I might need a refresher, but I kind of...
Oh, basically, the top earners, the heads of business, corporates, get taxed very little, and the theory is they'll invest that money into building their companies into bigger companies and employing more people and then employing more taxpayers. But there's no guarantee that that money doesn't go straight to shareholders.
Look at Qantas. They fired people.
Okay, so could you bring in legislation where, top corporates are taxed less so long as that money that they save on tax
You would never be able to police
gets reinvested into the business and employs more people.
You would never be able to police that.
Well, that's the theory.
Well, I don't know if I believe
And it's
that
called
theory.
trickle economics.
Why can't it be bottom-up economics?
What's the latest with bird flu? Because I know you're across this.
Yeah, well, obviously people are talking about the bird flu because this is a pretty deadly strain, the H5N1. Agriculture Victoria confirmed the detection occurred in a bird located near Portland in the state's southwest. If the virus spreads, obviously that means it's going to be more expensive for poultry.
Imagine just one sector of the agricultural industry. Imagine if our egg industry just went. Imagine if there were no eggs and no chickens.
You know what else we have to check up on, Luke? Is the algal bloom. Because the last we
in South Australia.
Yeah, the last we spoke about this, it is still kind of lingering there as a threat. And so I'm interested if you guys know, one, are you concerned about agriculture when it comes to the bird flu? And two, what's up with the algal bloom? Should we be talking about this more?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about border control and, every passenger coming into Australia. We've watched border control on Channel 7. You can't bring food in, you can't bring...
Best show on earth. I love that show. It's so good.
I tell you, I love it.
Some people are dumbasses.
What is it? I'm not being racist, but how come it's so many Asians come in with food and they've ticked their card, no food, nothing to declare?
Yeah, I wonder what the stats are.
Medicinal.
I guess you wouldn't be able to have the stats on how many actually get through versus how many don't. Maybe it's luck of the draw, right? I'm sure there are a bunch of people that get through with their duck eggs, Yeah,
and there's seaweed and they're...
Oh, don't knock seaweed. I love seaweed.
But you can't bring it in.
Well, yeah.
We've got plenty here. Go down to DY Beach after a big surf.
Yeah.
Anyway, but when birds fly into Australia from overseas, there's not much you can do.
True. That is true. Now, speaking of birds.
Now, when we were driving here to the Mighty Casino for the Mighty Casino.
The Mighty
Chacho,
Casino.
Thanks very much to the Richmond Valley Council. You were laughing in the car. And we said, what's going on here? Because your mum loves to feed the
birds,
the parrots that come to our veranda.
Yeah.
And you said, Mum, you'll love this story. What's the story?
So recently on A Current Affair, they confronted what they're calling the Burwood Birdman. So there's this random man, right? He drives out to Burwood every morning and he dumps a bucket. And I'm not talking a little bucket. I'm talking a full painter's bucket worth of birdseed just out on the lawn, right? On this random street in Burwood. Random man.
On the nature strip.
No, it's like a residential area. He just goes around.
Oh, to random houses.
Yeah. And so, because people have their security footage that they've got from outside their house, there's just this random man walking around at God knows what hour in the morning, just spreading bird seed and so much bird seed. It's crazy.
So can I say this? Is he ruffling feathers?
He's ruffling feathers.
Right.
And one of the residents said on A Current Affair that when the sun rises, all hell breaks loose with the chirping and the shitting.
Yeah.
Because just remember, bird seed isn't a part of their natural diet, right?
No, it goes right through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So harmless fun or is this actually destructive?
I don't know.
What would you do if you found someone pouring a bucket of bird seed out on your lawn?
It's a bit random. I don't know. What did they find out why he's doing it?
No one knows the motive. No, A Current Affair tried to confront him, but he just wasn't talking.
I bet the RSPCA and Peter and the rest of them, I bet you they don't like it because it's not part of their natural diet or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there a bird problem in Burwood? Like, is there like low bird populations that we need to recoup or something?
Well, is there one specific species that's being attracted to this bird
Well,
seed?
cocktails.
Cocktails. Really?
The residents are attracted to cocktails. No, what are they? Cockatoos.
Cocktails.
Cockatoos are, at least from the footage that I saw, there are lots of cockatoos. Lots of them.
Cockatoos are really destructive.
Yeah.
So who goes to the bird seed first?
What do you mean?
Well, because
I don't know.
Well, can I just say this?
What?
There is a pecking order.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Oh.
And if you feed birds, you'll notice that some birds, there is a pecking order. I think kookaburras are at the top, butcher birds are close to the top, and other birds have to come in next. Yeah.
Well, birds are actually very intelligent creatures, and they say that birds bring good karma. So if you should always treat the birds right. They say if you treat the birds right, as in, I don't know if what mum does is the right thing to do. I don't know if you should be feeding
She
birds.
gives them almonds.
Yeah, I don't know. Can a bird expert tell us if that's good or bad?
She has this special little box. It's a Tupperware thing, and she's got almonds and sometimes macadamias.
You can't mac it. Oh, I don't know. Is that bad? I don't know. We need a bird expert to tell us.
But anyway, I read somewhere it's not a good idea to feed the birds because when you eventually leave your home, the birds have been so used to being fed, they've lost the ability to hunt.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. But it brings me to another topic.
Oh, God.
So here we are in August. Are we at August yet?
Nearly.
Call it August. So spring's around the corner. What happens in spring, Kelsey?
It blooms.
Magpie swooping season.
Oh.
The magpies
I wonder
nest.
what the magpies are going to be like.
And I know. And the magpies will be back. I'm going to get Dr. Rob Zammit, who's an expert, before magpie swooping season, and we'll talk about how to avoid, because magpies and crows are very intelligent, so much so they recognise faces.
Yeah.
And if you're mean to them, they'll remember.
They'll remember,
They'll come and get you.
They'll spite
It's
you.
very Alfred Hitchcock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Eh? But anyway, I digress.
Just while we're on the subject of animals, and I put this in here, right, because Mum recently, her fish died.
Now,
Freddie died.
Let me just tell you this. What was his name? Freddie. She had another one before. What was his name? They're these black Siamese fighting fish, so you can only have one. You can't put two in there because they'll kill each other. And I said one day, and she doesn't have a filter in it. It's just
I know, it's just a tank.
It's just a tank. And she has to clean it out every 3 days.
Yeah.
It's just, why do you do it to yourself? Because I like it. And he was the friendliest little fish.
Yeah, he was. He was curious.
He would come to the side and wave at you.
Yeah, I know. He was a great fish.
He was really good. So one day he's just not there. And I said, what happened? She said, he died. He was floating on the top. I said, are you okay? I said, yes. What did you do? She said, flushed him down the toilet.
Oh, poor Freddie.
Now, my daughter had exactly that fish once, and his name was Sonny. My son, Jacob, one of his best friends was a Chinese boy called Sonny.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
And it was it was a Siamese fighting fish, so she called the fish Sonny.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just got that.
Anyway, do you remember? Yeah. So you know that little courtyard out the side of our bedroom?
Yeah.
Right? So Holly put him in a matchbox. And were you there for this?
I think I remember this.
We had a funeral.
Yeah.
And we had to bow our heads and Holly said grace.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, poor Sonny, he was a good fish. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I do remember
and we
that.
buried him in the garden.
Freddie didn't get that good of a
No,
funeral.
Freddie went whooshka.
Yeah, whooshka. Well, thank God we don't live in Argentina because Mum might have got arrested. So in Argentina, a court has recognised 2 goldfish as sentient beings with rights. So this all started, right, because this dude was walking past a restaurant that had a fish tank.
Yeah.
And there were these 2 goldfish in there, and he noticed that these fish were not being kept in the correct conditions. He took it to court. And they won the court order to get the fish rehoused in better conditions. But they've continued on with this, and now a court has recognised that, yes, these are sentient beings with rights, these 2 goldfish. The issue lies, so this guy said, having 2 fish in a glass display case is more or less the same as putting 2 polar bears in a cage inside a sauna.
Yeah. I don't know about that. They reckon fish don't have any memories, or a memory of 1 minute or 60 seconds or 2 seconds or something. That's wrong, because your mum's fish, it knew you.
And I think
it knew it was
recognised,
feeding
yeah.
time. So that's a memory, isn't it?
No, I think he just got excited when anyone came in the room.
But is it immoral? Is it wrong? Is it cruel to catch a fish on a hook when you're fishing?
Oh, I don't know.
I've said this before. If fish could scream, would people still catch them?
Oh, some people definitely. Some people are into that, Luke.
PETA, which is, I think, stands for people who eat tasty animals. They want angling and recreational fishing banned.
Yeah.
Because they say it's cruel. Anyway, getting back to the goldfish. Goldfish are carp, aren't they?
Why are you asking me? I've got no idea.
I think they are. But anyway, that's fascinating.
We're definitely going to get messages being like, goldfish are not carp, you f***ing idiots.
I think goldfish, some of them, I think they are. Are they a brand of carp? You don't want to let them into your river system. But anyway, there's a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode starring Larry David, where he's at a Chinese restaurant and they have the tank with the fish in it, and he's having lunch one day and he notices that one of the fish has got one of its fins stuck in the filtration system, and he was really upset about it because it was distressed.
Yeah.
He comes in the next day and the fish is gone. He says, "Where's the fish?" "Oh, it's gone to a new tank. It's happy now." And he knows it died. Oh. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, the goldfish. Give us your thoughts, your response, because we love to share your feedback. Like we will now. We've got some listener mail. I've got a comment from John.
Yes. John said, I love Dr. Carl, but today he just seemed to be anti-nuclear full stop. His arguments re solar don't add up, saying it's free power but forgets it costs $12,000 to set solar up. That's a good point. Takes 7 years to pay it back, and the solar panels only last 10 years. Batteries are around $10,000 as well. It's actually not that good now that the feed-in rates are basically zero, and when you're feeding into the system on days of high performance, the companies turn off your feed-in as the grid can't cope with all the extra power. So that's a very good point, John.
Yeah, we're not set up to take it. And we've seen, for example, the whole state of South Australia blackout because their grid couldn't cope with it, and they had to plug into Victoria and New South Wales. It's not ready yet, and I think it's a good idea, and I'd love to be off the grid. I've said it, but it's just not ready yet, and I don't think we're ready yet to demonise coal-fired power. And the other thing that we didn't mention is that how much coal-fired power does it take to manufacture solar powers and batteries?
Well, I reckon these are points that we can bring up to Carl next time we speak.
I think he's on in a month.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
We'll see what he's got to say about that, John. Now, Best Mum left this comment for us. Chicken salt is okay. MSG is the best. Salt on crack. Great podcast team. I love MSG. I went to my local Asian grocery store the other day, stocked up.
Whenever I have a Chinese meal.
Succulent Chinese meal.
What sort of a meal? A succulent Chinese meal. Or you know your judo well. Stop touching my penis.
What?
That's what he says.
Oh, okay.
Play it.
Get your hand off my penis!
I don't like it. I just don't like the taste of it. I don't like anything about it. But whenever I have Chinese and I don't ask no MSG, and even when you ask them,
you can't anyway.
You used to be able to say no MSG, please.
Well, I doubt they.
I have really weird dreams.
No, that's a myth.
I have vivid. Now that we're in casino, I've noticed a couple of Chinese restaurants. I want Chinese while we're here.
Yeah, maybe we
I
shall.
love Chinese.
Let's do it. Now, Moby 30.
Combination chow mein, special fried rice, prawn cutlets, and a combination. Did I say combination chow mein? Sweet and sour pork.
Nice. Now, Mobby 37 left us a comment. Just a note to add to your conversation with James Ward. He mentioned the Pajero is coming back.
And this and Pajero, yeah.
In Mexico, Pajero is a vulgar slang term derived from paja, which I suspect would be pronounced like paja, which is Masturbation.
Self-gratification, Kelsey.
It roughly translates to wanker and is used to describe someone who
Gratifies themselves.
frequently is lazy or waste time doing nothing. That is a great fun fact.
Yeah, they should be a thanker.
Not a wanker.
There, you see?
Exactly.
You with me?
Exactly. I love it. Dave left us this comment. Tracy Tully, you are an inspiration to everyone who has been around you and heard you speak. I am 64 years young and have never heard someone with so much passion for our children. Thank you. God bless.
Tracy Tully is one of the most interesting onions we've had to unpeel on the podcast. And I've spoken to her twice, and take 2 was dropped just last week. So please go back and have episode 126, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was good of me.
I know. Good on you.
Yeah, Tracy Tully, ex-school principal, passionate educator. You might not agree with everything she says, but gee, it's worth listening to, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, we've been talking a lot this week about funeral songs.
Oh, you're not back on that.
Well, I'm not back on
You
it.
keep dragging it out of the grave. You keep digging it up.
We're going to hear Granny.
You know what?
Oh, God.
We used to just let me tell you something.
You're on a roll.
When I was at 2LF and Young, one of the most listened to segments on breakfast radio were the funeral announcements.
Really?
Are
Why?
you serious? Because people wanted to know who died.
Yeah, fair.
And I can do it. There was a form you'd fill out. The relatives and friends of the late John Smith are formally invited to attend his funeral. The cortege will leave for the Catholic portion of the St. something or other of the Bathurst Lawn Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, donations to the such and such charity, whatever. And you would read these things out. If you got it wrong, oh my God, you knew. But everyone would stop what they were doing.
Yeah.
7:15 was funeral announcements. So anyway, I'm there on the night.
I know where this is going. You've told us this before.
No, I'm not doing the my way thing.
Oh.
But that was a birthday call.
Oh, yeah, true.
That was a birthday call. Mrs. McGillicuddy loves Frank Sinatra. So anyway, Keith Philpott, funeral directors of Cowra. He's running. Oh, look, I've got a funeral announcement. Yes, mate. How are you? I said, do you like being a funeral director? He said, mate, we're the last people who'll ever let you down.
Oh, true.
How good is that?
True. That's good. That's good.
From a funeral director, that was very, very good. One more thing before you go on.
Yeah.
What was he? He was the general manager or the managing director of the New South Wales Funeral Directors Association at one point in the 1970s. Do you know what his name was?
Oh, I don't know.
His name, you can Google it, Ralph Box.
Oh, of course.
How good is that?
Yep.
Anyway, what are you talking about?
Granny Sue sent in her funeral songs, but you're going to have to wait until the Man Cave to hear those. But we got some other submissions. Hi, Luke and Kelsey. Robbie from East Mayland. My funeral song is Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart. That's a good one. And Fat Boy Dougie, he commented, their funeral song is The Colour Is Leaving by Parkway Drive. Now, we can't play these songs because of copyright. I did listen to them beforehand, and these two songs could not be any more different.
Tell us what your
Maybe we should make our own playlist.
We can do that. We can do that. So we're here in Casino, and thanks to the Richmond Valley Council, thanks to Tian and Darren and
Eliza. We're going to have fun in Casino.
And the good, gentle people of Casino on the banks of the mighty Richmond River. So, shall we get on with it? Coming up, the Shark Man, Josh Nancarrow. Look, it may be not summer surfing, beach going weather at the moment, but the topic of sharks and the increase in shark attacks around Australia is still a topic of important conversation because, according to the Bureau of Statistics, the long-term number of unprovoked shark bites in Australia has increased over the past 2 decades. Rising from an average of about 12 incidents a year in the 2000s, we are now seeing 20 to 25 a year. And there are experts that have different opinions as to why and how to avoid all this. Now, the long-term upward trend in Australia, according to the Bureau and the CSIRO, is primarily driven by human factors rather than changes in shark populations or an increase in shark aggression. Now, that is up for debate. Rapid coastal population growth and massive increase in water-based recreational activities is another factor. And better reporting and documentation by groups like the Australian Shark Incident Database is helping with these figures. Coming from the northern beaches, it's a pretty close topic to everyone's heart here. We all saw that amazing bloke, 57-year-old father, an experienced surfer, Mercury Fixakis, who was fatally mauled by a 5-metre shark September 6, 2025. Now, this tragedy occurred not at dusk, not at dawn, but it happened at 10 a.m. at Long Reef Beach, DY, Sydney's northern beaches. He was attacked while attempting to protect his friends and bring the group to safety. It's a terrible, terrible story. But we hear more and more reports of the capture of massive bull sharks around Sydney and Sydney Harbour. And that has added to the urgency, to the warnings that large sharks are active along not just the New South Wales coast, but right around Australia. Now, you'll often read about a bloke who was an interesting character. His name is Joel Nancarrow. He's the owner of Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration. And I remember the footage he hooked. We'll see if we can find the footage. He hooked a bull shark measuring more than 2 metres, and it all went viral. Now, that was back when there were over 26 shark attacks around Australia, and a lot of them, we find, are bull sharks. We always think, great whites, and I guess the movie Jaws kind of put fear into the hearts of most Australians about shark attacks. That was that great white. But it's also bull sharks which are causing problems. So I thought, why don't we get this interesting character, Joel Nancarrow, the owner of Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration, on the podcast and hear what he has to say. And he's with me now. G'day, buddy.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Joel, I'm really good. You are an interesting character. And the footage of you reeling in that bull shark, how long ago was that now?
Is that the one in Sydney Harbour?
Yeah.
That was back in January, that one. That was, I think, 4 days after young Nico was attacked. Yeah, it was 2.8 metres, that one.
What's that in feet?
Oh, I don't know.
But your name seems to be associated with shark attacks all the time now. I've got to ask you, do you call yourself a shark expert?
No, never have, never will.
But you have strong thoughts on all of this. Tell us a bit about yourself and your background and your passion for sharks.
Just as a kid, my grandparents taught me to fish. They used to be professional fishermen. So from the minute I could walk, I could hold a fishing rod, and fish just didn't do it for me. I always just had an interest in shark. All I ever wanted as a kid, I just remember all I ever wanted to do was catch a tiger shark one day and a bull shark, and I just never gave up on that hope, I guess. It never faded, and here I am now. It's basic, it's what I do for a living now. And I just started off in the lake like most kids do, just catching, hammerheads back then, chasing bull sharks. Sort of just progressed over the years, met like-minded boys that I fish with, and we all sort of learnt together, and now I do what I do and still got them by my side, which is great.
You mentioned Nico. You're referring to Nico Antic, who was just 12.
Yes.
And I remember him being pulled from the water. He was fatally injured. He was attacked by what is believed to have been a bull shark. And that was January 18, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he jumped from the rocks at the Hermitage Foreshore Walk near Shark Beach. It's an unfortunately named beach in Vaucluse. So it was within Sydney Harbour. Tragically, he died in hospital. Who would have thought a day later, January 19, an 11-year-old boy had a lucky escape. He was knocked off his board by a shark at DY near me on the northern beaches. And then we had the same day a 27-year-old musician, Andre Di Ruta, who was dragged under the surface while surfing at nearby Manly Beach. And then the following Tuesday, a shark took a bite out of a surfboard of a 39-year-old man at Point Piper near Port Macquarie. You can see why the general public, we are reading and hearing about shark attacks all the time, and here we are in winter. And recently, yet another shark attack. It attacked a surfer on a surfboard, and luckily he escaped, and that was just 3 days ago. Now, some experts will say that the protection of sharks has increased their numbers. Some people will say climate change and the change of the warm currents means that the sharks' prey, the schools of fish that they chase, are swimming closer to the shore. Some people are saying that people are stupid and going into the water when they're told they shouldn't, like at dusk and at dawn, while it's still dark and after heavy rain. So what are your thoughts on all of this?
Shark numbers are increased. There's no ifs or buts about it. They're protected white sharks now. I think it was 99. So over 25 years they've been protecting them. They breed. There were plenty around back then. They say now they don't have measures accurate to get the numbers to lift the protection, but they're saying that 27 years ago that they had the measures in place that they could get an accurate count to actually put a protection in. That's garbage. Bull sharks, they've been protected over 1.5 metres in Queensland. I think roughly, don't quote me, but 2015 that came in. That's 10 years up there. So, anything over 1.5 metres, they can't keep them up there, and that's the main place they breed. We have created an unnatural environment for sharks like bull sharks with your canals and your river systems that are man-made in Queensland, and it has created the perfect environment for these sharks to breed and grow in numbers. So how can they say we can't mess with nature and take sharks out of the water when we have actually created an unnatural environment for them to thrive in, which is creating these numbers we've got? It is an absolute joke. Like, they are the most bull sharks. White sharks are white sharks. Like you said, Jaws gave them a bit of a stigma, obviously.
Didn't it? Yeah.
They're big. They got big teeth. They eat. People are going to get attacked by whites, and that's not a good thing at all. They need to do something about that. But bull sharks, they're just a different thing altogether.
Okay, well, let's concentrate on bull sharks.
Any time of the day. So I have mentioned the time. White sharks, most white shark attacks actually happen between like 9:30 and 11 o'clock in the morning. That dusk till dawn thing doesn't count with white sharks. They're always more active between 9:30 and 11 o'clock in the morning.
You have a particular fascination with bull sharks, so today we can concentrate on them because I've done some looking up and some research on this, and bull sharks are an uncanny freak of nature. They are incredibly aggressive. They are incredibly brave, and they can live in brackish water, salt water, or even fresh water. Is that correct?
That is correct. They adapt to, basically they can just adapt to any environment, as long as they're in the water, obviously. Doesn't matter, like pollution, anything, they just adapt to it. The bull shark that I caught in Sydney Harbour that we were talking about, it had a massive gut on it. It was a male. It was probably the most healthy male I've seen. I was actually a bit nervous to cut it open because I launched at Rose Bay and I didn't really want to cut it open down there. So I pulled it in the boat to bring it home, and it was full. It had rat, it had leaves, it had all sorts of strange things.
What did it have?
Rats in it. It had been way, way, way up the harbour. I don't even know the harbour, but it was way up there somewhere.
The harbour eventually gets you to Parramatta.
Yeah, well, it would have been up there somewhere because it had all like full of mud and this black sludge. It was putrid. Like, they can adapt to any environment and they'll eat what they have to eat. That's what makes them dangerous.
Rats. Geez.
Yeah.
Did you find any number plates like they did in the movie?
No, not yet. I'm sure it'll happen one day.
So it's 2 point what metres?
It was 2.8, that one.
2.8.
Which isn't a big fish. It's a big fish, but it's not a big fish in the scheme of things. It actually had another one with it. It had a female with it.
Right.
But I couldn't do anything about that because I'm only allowed to take one.
So they're not protected. Can you eat them?
Oh, you can eat them. You wouldn't eat them that size, and I probably wouldn't eat them out of the harbour, to be honest with you. After what I've seen inside this one, I wouldn't go anywhere near that. In Queensland they do, because they're only allowed to catch them under 1.5. They chase them all the time. They eat them up there. Yeah,
because back in the day when you ordered fish and chips the fish and chip, it was flake.
Well, that's what I done with that mako. So I caught a mako off the beach last week, and it was 2.6 metres to the fork on the tail, and I actually filleted it on the beach, brought it home, cut it up and bagged it, and I had a few people who are doing it tough at the moment. I put on my page, and we had a heap of families come around and we gave them heaps of mako and stuff to eat there. Like, some sharks are great eating.
Yeah, the bigger the fish, the more mercury it has, though. That's the problem.
It is, yeah.
So that you want to go for the smaller ones. Do you think we should protect sharks?
Some sharks, yes. Some sharks, absolutely not. There is no need for if they put a protection on bull sharks, there should be a public outcry from that. They need to lift the bag limit on those. Great whites, the protection definitely needs to be reviewed now. The amount of them that you see is incredible. I've got a lot of underwater footage from those. But bull sharks, they're never going to cull them, but they need to look at lifting a bag limit and then introducing a commercial market onto them to reduce the numbers a bit. More people are going to die. It's inevitable. More people are going to die.
It's funny, because I some time ago spoke to Bob Catter, who's a character from Queensland.
I met up with him not long ago.
Okay, well, we had him on the podcast. You might want it's called the Bonafide podcast, and you're on it right now, but you might want to go back and listen to my chat. And we were talking about the protection of crocodiles.
Yep.
And crocodile attacks are also increasing. And he can't understand why we protect them when we should be controlling their numbers. That's just Bob Catter, though. I bet that topic of conversation came up when you spoke to him.
Sure did.
What did he say?
Same thing. So human lives need to be put first. And the thing with the crocodile stuff, like I was actually talking to him about it on air and off air, and what he said's true. A lot of them don't go reported because they're in like your remote Aboriginal communities and stuff up there.
Yeah.
And a lot of crocodile attacks don't even get reported up there, but it'll be the same with sharks. Them bull sharks get right up the rivers, all through the Northern Territory, all through like the top of Cairns. They're everywhere up there. So there'll be more people get taken a year. I know for a fact that there was someone go this year that they found remains of, and they didn't find much of him, but it never got reported, and that was in New South Wales.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Let's get back to your passion of sharks and bull sharks. Oh, for people who enjoy the ocean, and that's most Australians, we're girt by it, right?
We are.
Yeah, and we're drawn to it. People want to feel safe. How do you feel about netting beaches? How do you feel about this new drone program they put into place straight after that poor woman was taken in Coogee and had her arm severed? What are your thoughts on protecting people?
See, the drones, I've always called for drones. I think they're great because they can warn people to get out of the water. A lot of these sharks, as I've mentioned plenty of times, they'll sit out behind the waves and they'll sit out in the still water where it's a little bit deeper, and they'll swim up and down the beach until they decide that something's right and they're going to feed. And then they'll wait for a bit of a break, and they'll wait till they get a bit of cover. When the next wave comes, they'll shoot in 100 mile an hour and they'll hit whatever they hit. So drones are great because you might have a shark out the back for an hour before it decides to have a go at someone. They're awesome. Nets, I don't know. I've shark fished beaches, and I've shark fished beaches with nets on them. If we were going shark fishing, we wouldn't look at a beach and go, there's shark nets there, let's not fish that beach. We'd still fish it, and we'd still catch plenty of sharks.
You see, there are a few things at play here, and I'd love to know your opinion on this. You see, if you remember the movie Jaws, the big drama was the mayor of Amity, who was concerned that was it the 4th of July weekend? I can't remember. It was a big
tourism.
And he was worried that the tourists wouldn't go out to the island and wouldn't spend money. Now, I think the same is happening along most of the tourist coastal ports around Australia, because if tourists stay away because they're concerned about sharks, the area loses money. Now, obviously, preserving life has got to be on top of your priorities, but at the end of the day, they want people to feel comfortable and safe and enjoy the beach and spend their money. Are you with me?
100%. It's crazy. The thing is, that might have worked before social media. They might have been able to talk it down, downplay it.
Right.
But these days, what they say is right in a way. People do have drones. People do have phones. They've all got cameras. They will see sharks. So they can't hide the numbers anymore. And I think that's what's starting to become apparent now. It's not the fact that the population's grown. It's not the fact that, there's more people in the water. It's the fact that there's more sharks in the water and the people are showing it. Everyone can take a photo of a shark and put it on social media and have it shared 100,000 times and get views now. Whereas before, someone could take photos, they had to take it to the paper, and the paper could run it or not and do what they were told. These days, the people trying to protect the tourism industry can't actually police it, so they come up with these other excuses about the amount of people in the water.
I won't mention his name, but I used to work with a former editor of the Daily Telegraph, and he was telling me that back when he called the shots, I'll tell you the story. There was a shark attack in Sydney, and so the front page of the Telegraph was shark attack and a big picture of a shark, a great white with its mouth open and its teeth showing. Dramatic photo, right?
Yeah.
They sold a record amount of papers that day. Now, his boss then said to him, put more shark stories in because it sold papers. One, it sold more papers, but two, people are indeed fascinated by sharks and terrified at the same time.
Yep.
Just having said that, now that we have clickbait and now that we have social media, you see one shark and people will think there's 1,000. And I don't know what the real numbers are. So in your opinion, and you're an expert around Sydney and the north coast and the south coast of around Sydney, you believe that there are more sharks than ever. Is that what you're saying?
100%. I used to, like you said about the bull sharks and fascination, I used to, when we were younger, right, so in the early 20s, we'd probably get 4 or 5 bull sharks in a season, and we target them like regularly. This season, personally, I caught 34, and I'm not doing anything different. Obviously, I've got more time now, but at the same time, I see an incredible amount. All the fishermen see an incredible amount. These shark numbers have increased tenfold, and the people that are deny it are trying to save their jobs, to put it bluntly. They're trying to save their jobs because they've been getting paid so much money. They've been tagging small numbers. They've been saying that the shark numbers are increasing for years and years and years now. And now you've got people out there that are proving them otherwise on a shoestring budget, and they have to stick with their narrative now, because if they turn around, change their mind and say what's actually happening, it's going to show that they've wasted tens of millions of dollars over the last 10 years, and they're going to lose their jobs. That is, I'm telling you, that is all it comes down to now. It's just them protecting themselves. They're not caring about the public.
Okay, now let's move. We're talking about deterrence. We've talked about nets. What about drag lines, hook lines?
Oh, the drum lines.
The drum lines, yeah.
Oh, they're just to put tags in them so they can follow them.
No, but they have hooks with bait on them.
Yeah, they do. So they've got it's for those who don't fish won't understand. It's a 28-0 hook, so it's a really big circle hook.
Right.
And they've got one mullet pinned on it, and that's way out off the beach. That's not attracting anything. Like I say to people, you've got salmon, you've got dolphins, you've got jewfish, you've got everything. The whole ecosystem, the whole food chain is on the beach. One drum line with one mullet on it's not going to attract them, because you have tens of tons of natural food source swimming up and down the beach all day, every day.
Okay, so I've tried to get a definitive answer on this, and I don't know whether you can help me or not, but I like gathering opinions. I'm talking about electronic deterrence that you can wear on your wrist or on your around your ankle. Something that will emit a transmitter that will emit some sort of electrical pulse or tone that will deter sharks. Now, there's a few around, but according to science and the CSIRO, none of them have proven to be 100% effective, and the manufacturers can't actually make too many promises. It's all kind of, we hope this works. What are your thoughts? You've done a bit of research into this.
I have. I've tested certain ones, and there's videos on my page of any shark that has been decent size swimming around with them in their mouth, chewing on them.
Yeah.
As they're not electric, they're magnetic. So as for electric, I actually have one here. I have one of the repeller ones here that there's a government rebate in WA on those that they attach on the surfboard. I'm just waiting for the right conditions. I'm going to put it on a board that I've got here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to test it myself. I just basically test what I can. There's nothing that's going to be 100%, I don't think. If they can come up with something, it'll be amazing. But anyway, basically anything I get sent or mentioned now, I just test. I never used to, because I used to sort of tiptoe around it. Nowadays, human life comes first, so I'll just test it. Any deterrent that I can think of, I'll test it.
But so
far, none of them have worked.
That was my question. So
far, and there's okay. So I'm not going to mention the brand just because, but everyone will know anyway. But so the one that I tested, the wearable one, it definitely showed signs of working on small sharks that you wouldn't have to worry about. So like little whalers, hammers, stuff like that were, say, under 80 kilo. There is 100% no doubt in my mind that it had an effect on those, and it worked. Once I had 4 big sharks come up, and they were all, all white sharks. I had 2 whites as well, and 1 big bull, 2 big nurses, and they ate the bait with the band on it, and they just swam around chewing it like they wouldn't even know it was on there.
They chewed and they enjoyed.
They swam.
The shark deterrent,
just swimming around with it in their mouth. They did not have a care in the world.
So, tell me, Joel Nancarrow, what's the answer? Do you have one, or are you still looking?
Still looking. I've got big plans for this summer.
What are they?
I'm going to start early. I'm going to timestamp everything. I'm going to fish some different places. I'm going to chase the bull sharks up and down. I'm just going to make a paper trail that can't be denied.
Well, it's been great talking to you. Here's the question. This summer, can Australians feel safe in the water?
Nope, not a chance. From northern New South Wales, from October, November is danger times. Down here, you've got December, January, February, right through till June.
Tourist time, eh?
Yep. And honestly, they can't. You wait with drones in the air, I would almost guarantee there will not be a beach that stays open for more than 2 or 3 days in a week.
I will say again, you're not a shark expert, but you're a person that deals with sharks, fascinated by them, and you're trying to do your own research. I just don't want to alarm people.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just put it all on my page, and people can. I just put on my page my own personal experience. I never make anything up. Everything I say has videos to back up what I'm saying. I just post it on there, and people have come to trust me over the years. I've mentioned that there could be attacks in certain times, and those attacks have happened just due to conditions and just personal experience from things that I've seen. And I just basically post stuff on the page, and people can make up their own minds whether they believe it or whether they hate it on that.
How do people find you?
Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration on Facebook.
Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration on Facebook.
Yep.
And if you just go into Google and type in Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration, it's all there. It's fascinating and yet terrifying, isn't it?
It is. I love the shark fishing side of it, and I never planned on having the social media following and, being what it is today. It's just I am so dedicated to what I do, and I like to show people, and it just took off, and I sort of got that, I guess, the card placed on me, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And, now it's sort of I feel like I have to do the public safety side of it, because I could easily just shark fish and not say anything else, but I want people to survive. I grew up loving the water, and now I don't swim. I want people to know the truth, and I just want people to be able to make up their own minds. And if that means copping all the abuse I do from the people that don't have a front door to their house because they live in the basement, then that it is what it is. I just made that a part of the entertainment, and I enjoy it. But, I'll never stop doing what I'm doing.
You do cop a fair bit of abuse.
Yep.
Do you cop abuse from experts, from scientists, or
yep.
or dog experts like Barnaby Joyce is copping at the moment?
So I don't cop abuse from experts and scientists. They hate what I'm doing. As I was up and coming, I guess, with the social media, they tried everything they could try to legally get me shut down.
What did they do? Well, who's the scientists? Well,
no, not,
the general public. The keyboard.
Government departments. I had people turn up here from the DPI and go through my freezer, like my shed, and basically look for things that I shouldn't be doing. But, I'm not stupid. You can't, when you're in the public eye, you've got to be by the book. But a lot of them are just dog experts like Barnaby Joyce. A lot of them will just see a shark, they watch a Sea Shepherd documentary and say, oh no, the sharks die, the ocean dies, we die. So they're genuinely scared. These people are scared people. They think because the documentary told them if the sharks die that we're going to die, they think by taking sharks out of the ocean, you're endangering their personal lives. These people are crazy.
Okay. I'll finish with one more argument that's often brought up. I will again state I am by no stretch of the imagination an expert, but I do like to talk to people who have opinions because I listen. But you've said you're not a scientist, you're not a shark expert, but you're also trying to learn as much as you can. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. What do you say to people who will say to you, and I bet you've heard it, the water is their territory, they have a right to be there, we're the visitors?
If those people want to lower themselves down the food chain, they can go for it. Basically, at the end of the day, we are at the top of the food chain for a reason. We don't want to wipe them all out. But at the same time, I'm not going to, human life comes first. Hunting and gathering is something that has been done from day one, and it's a part of nature. Hunting and gathering is a part of nature. The fact that these people want to take the hunting side out of it is going to affect nature in itself. Those people that say it's a shark's home on every single shark post are the lowest form of human intelligence that I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible. It's entertaining because everyone just looks at it and laughs at them as well now, which is good. But it is just the most ridiculous argument. Yes, it's their home, but you know what? Because we've evolved more, we can walk and swim. Sharks can swim, they can't walk. You know what? Because we've evolved more, that's our problem. These people just need to think. They're just going off what they hear on TV and they're scared. That's all it is. It's the most ridiculous argument you can hear.
It's funny because crocodiles can walk. I wonder if sharks had 4 legs and could walk.
And the thing is, and what do they do to crocodiles up north when they attack someone? They go out there and they shoot it. And if someone else doesn't, like if the rangers won't shoot it, someone in the public will. They actually take care of things up there. It's a different world up there than it is down here.
All right. Well, you are a very interesting character, and I'm so glad you took the time out to talk to me. Thank you very, very much, Joel.
That's all right.
And I'm sure we'll talk again as summer gets a bit closer.
Oh, we will.
And maybe we'll get you on the Man Cave one day and you can join in and have a bit of fun as well.
Sounds good to me.
Joel Nancarrow, an Australian fisherman and founder of Hunter Shark Jaw Restoration. He's based out of Newcastle in New South Wales. And, well, he's an interesting character, folks. Your comments are welcome. Let us know what you make of it. Joel, let's catch up soon.
Definitely. Thanks, mate.
Well, there's a lot happening in the UK at the moment, and Ben Downie is Channel 7's bureau chief in the UK. He's Ben Downie everywhere at the moment. My God, they're getting their money's worth out of you, buddy. G'day.
Yeah, good to be with you.
Ben, can you tell us what's going on with these fires in Europe?
Yeah, look, so it's been 6 days of some of the most brutal fire conditions across Spain and France, and there's been some heroic efforts, nothing short of heroism, from the French and Spanish firefighters. I think there have been around 4 firefighters that have sadly died in these conditions, but it's been a case where they've had to evacuate more than 300,000 people from their homes across both of those nations, what France has called the largest peacetime evacuation in the nation's history. As these wildfires burn through more than 100,000 hectares in France, a bit more than that in Spain as well. And for 6 days, they've fought. They're finally beginning to get a grip and contain these fires. The problem is that as they do this in the coming hours, the heat wave, the 4th successive heat wave this year, is going to settle over the continent, and it's going to bring fresh 40-degree temperatures. So just when there was an end in sight, it looks like the conditions are about to get worse.
And I read today that the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is warning of more devastating fires right across Europe, but saying that they believe that a lot of these fires were deliberately lit. Is there any truth to that?
The thing is, like, emergency crews, are always looking at this stage. It's very much about containment. It's very much about extinguishing things. There are rumours there are fires surrounding Madrid. There are fires outside of Valencia as well. And there are some in the Castellon province too, which is in the east. Some of their behaviour isn't normal, but other parts, like in Valencia, but there is only suspicions at this stage. The fires surrounding Madrid, it could be deliberately lit or not. It could be a case of, barbecues, outside fires, bonfires, things like that. The fire management practices and safety protocols do not exist in Europe like they do in Australia. I look at all the vision, you'll see it on the news. There's nowhere near the amount of everything from personal protective equipment to actual firefighting equipment to people's homes having trees right next to their roofs. Nothing is taken as seriously here as it is back home. So, look, fire crews, their first priority right now is to contain these blazes. That's still a very active operation. We might see it fully come under control by the end of the week if everything goes to plan. But between now and then, there are still going to be homes lost. There are still going to be more hectares burnt. Hopefully no more lives lost, though.
And like the fires in Australia, which we see so often, they say, it's climate change. It's hard to argue climate change when some fires are deliberately lit.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about Pedro Sanchez. He's a socialist. He's quite a left-wing guy. He wouldn't be having the same view as you. He says that, misinformation and climate denial fuels fires more than anything. So it's a very different viewpoint over here. But I think it all adds in. I think if you're going to have high temperatures and you're going to have either fools running around or worse, criminals running around lighting fires. It just creates this kind of perfect storm. Plus these enormous winds that are coming through. There are so many different factors at play here. And it basically means, I think there's something like 6 times the amount of hectares have been burned this year compared to last in Spain. It's something like 12 times in France as well. Like these are all in holiday regions. They're where people flock to at this time of year in a European summer, but they're fleeing there now as well. So there's a huge economic blow as well. It's a really dire situation.
Can you give us a new PM update? Last time you and I spoke, it was right on the day that Andy Burnham was sworn in as the now current Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. How's he going? What's on the agenda? Is he going to turn things around for the Labor Party?
He's certainly turned things around in the polls.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer left as like fourth or maybe even the 5th favoured PM out of all the other major parties, with like Kevin Bagnall for the Conservatives, Nigel Farage for Reform. Andy Burnham is straight to the top, leading by, 10, 20% over any of his current rivals. So if you needed it spelled out anymore why he is now the PM compared to Keir Starmer, that is a stark illustration right there. The party itself, Labor Party, is now, like, were an election to be held today, it would be returned to government, or probably in the minority, but it would still be returned. Whereas, 2 weeks ago, it couldn't be more reversed. So polling-wise, is doing really well. He's playing the media like a fiddle, really. Keir Starmer was not really wasn't this kind of prime minister that you'd want to follow over the ramparts and sort of rally everyone behind. And Andy Burnham, he's got this sort of, folksy layperson approach. He's ditched the white collar shirt. He's got, a black T-shirt, jeans. He's leaning into his sort of Manchester Northern character, I suppose you could call it, and using things like humour just to kind of put a more sunny disposition on the government. And look, in the first week, he's announced things that are pretty small beer, small tax cuts here for pubs, small tax cuts here on energy, things like that. Nothing that's going to revolutionise the country or turn around its dire state of finances. But just for once, people aren't hating everything that comes out of the government's mouth. So when they finally do have to push through a big kind of reform, the kind that Andy definitely wants to do, he's got a bit more political capital to use rather than Keir Starmer, who was basically a dead PM walking. Something I've been dying to ask you, and that is, I wonder what impact Jeremy Clarkson has had on government policy concerning farming. And you just mentioned tax relief for pubs, because this show to me is fascinating on so many levels. Are you with me? Yeah. So Clarkson's farm, and it's funny you mentioned pubs. It's also James May, another sort of year turned grand tour in the trio as well. He's big into his pubs too. These are two blokes that have actually welcomed the changes. Particularly Jeremy Clarkson, quite a conservative fellow. I mean, he's a column in the Telegraph, and over here that is quite conservative. You watch his show, he loves bashing up the Labor Party and the Greens. They're kind of the butt of a joke for him. It's all like a good sort of broadcast kind of slant. But this is stuff that will come as a great sort of, will certainly be received well by those two guys. I mean, pubs are sort of disappearing over here, and they play an even greater role, I would argue, in sort of the social fabric of the UK than they do in Australia, which is quite the claim, I know. But little things like this that get your landlords and stuff on side and just makes it easier is the kind of thing that, like we say, it's a bit of a pun, it's small beer, but it gets people in a bit better mood. If you can get Jeremy Clarkson to pass on a compliment, however veiled, to a left of centre government, then I think Andy Burnham's doing pretty well. Yeah. I don't think the good times are going to last forever, but it's a small win for him. Okay, so I've got to finish with this. The Hawkston Lager, which I haven't tasted, and I can't wait, and I don't know where to get it here in Australia. I need to dig a bit deeper. But you have it on tap where you are. The story behind this beer, folks, is just amazing. It's beer that he's running a farm that he bought for £6 million. It's now worth triple that. But he's opened a shop, opened a pub, and a byproduct of his farming was barley. And he thought, let's make beer. This is really, really abbreviated story behind it. And these beer ads got banned. And of course, that brought more attention to his beer. Now they serve it on British Airways, and it's on the tip of everybody's lips, if you'll pardon the pun. And they went on, was it UK's Got Talent? Was one of the talent shows with the Farmers Choir, and they got the golden buzzer. I mean, this guy is a marketing genius, and I don't know how much of it was planned or how much of it just because the cameras kept rolling and every knockback and every punch down and every red tape, every piece of
damn bureaucracy provided content, and now you're talking about one of the most famous beer brands in the world, a beer that Carlson knocked back.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. I mean, I have Hawkston on tap.
What's it like?
Local, around the corner, the Canterbury Tavern, for anyone's wondering. But it is, I mean, Australian beer drinkers, fans of like your classic Australian beers, will really warm to this beer. If you like your kind of your VBs, your Tuis, your Reshes,
they're all lagers,
Coopers, standard kind of lagers.
Oh, by the way, Ben, all those Australian beers you just mentioned, all owned by Japanese breweries, the two big ones.
Exactly. Exactly.
So this is all British, even the hops, which is impossible to get.
Yeah, but you don't pay for it. I mean, it's priced well. Pints cost a lot over here, but like it's priced well compared to the other offerings. It is a good, easy drinking, flavorful beer. I'm not being paid. I wish I was by Amazon or Jeremy Clarkson, but it is a very serviceable lager. There are a lot of Aussies who come over into pubs, and the first thing they do is order a warm pint. This is cold. It's lovely, but yeah, it's still a bit scarce though. I think supply is only so much he can pump out. Really, but people who can get their hands on it, I haven't heard a bad word said about it.
But it's an amazing story. You couldn't write it. You couldn't write it.
I mean, Clarkson, though, master broadcaster, master at spinning a narrative. While it is all sort of worked out favourably, and you're right, you couldn't write it like that. There's been a very sort of, invisible hand sort of dictating these things. He is an expert. Whatever you might think of his views politically, he is an expert at crafting a narrative, selling a story, and putting things to TV. This is the latest example of that. It
is a really good thing. And then that ad that they had at 2:00 in the morning during the World Cup when England was playing, I forget who, I forget who, but everyone's watching this game, and he bought one of the ads. It was a 40-second ad called Caleb's Leap. Caleb is the young 21-year-old that was managing and is managing his farm. He's a real character. And that ad is just brilliant because there it is, the beer's being spilt, he's diving to save it, and then it gives you a quick montage of the history of the beer. It's a brilliant ad. It's marketing genius, isn't it?
And then you mentioned Caleb, like he's a superstar now. Like Caleb
Cooper. Tell us about Caleb Cooper and his stardom.
Well, anytime I think he's bought a house, I think he's bought some stuff for his family. It all ends up in the papers. He's a lovely sort of chap. And
I hope he doesn't change. I hope he doesn't change.
I think, well, look, I think he's probably surrounded by some good people. I think if you chart Jeremy Clarkson over the past sort of 30 years, he's kind of stayed the same kind of character. People have different views about that character, but he's stayed kind of the same. So, look, I think he's been managed quite well by that team, and I would imagine that the secret to his success is his kind of, down-to-earth lay demeanor and lifestyle, and I think it's in his blood, really. I'm looking into a crystal ball here, but I don't imagine it's going to change, at least not very soon.
Well, I wonder how long until Australians have Hawkston Lager on tap everywhere, because the Poms, they adopted Foster's, thinking, all Australians drink Foster's, and no one did. Everyone in the UK drank Foster's thanks to Paul Hogan.
Yeah, I mean, Foster's, I don't know if it's sacrilegious to say it as an Australian, even though you can't buy it for love nor money in Australia, but they've got it here. Yes, you'll find it on tap in sort of most boozers. I really can't stand the taste of it. It's quite bitter. It's not very refreshing. There are better things on offer.
Yeah.
Sorry to any sort of suppliers or advertisers out there.
Yeah.
But look, hopefully we receive a better beer in return. They can have the Fosters. We can take something else, maybe perhaps the Hawkston.
Yeah, well, can I just say my bottom line is a bit lower than yours. That's Ben Downie, everyone. But if Foster's would like to sponsor the Bonafide podcast, I'm prepared to love it.
You're on your own.
I would be. Ben Downie, thank you so much for the catch-up. Take care. Stay safe.
Pleasure as always. Thanks, Luke.
Well, it's been a little while since we've spoken to one of our regulars here on the Bonafide podcast. It is Senator David Shoebridge, Green Senator David Shoebridge, and he joins us again now. Senator, good to talk to you. A bit to talk about today. What do you reckon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a bit Chinese cursey, isn't it? You live in interesting times. But it's always good to come and have a yak too, Luke. I appreciate it.
Look, I understand that you're a national senator, but interesting times for the people of Victoria.
Oh, yeah. And look, I think every time politicians are talking about themselves, the electorate just looks at it and thinks, oh, bloody hell, we'd really like you to be focused on, I don't know, at a state level, schools and hospitals and transport and, trying to work out.
And why the bloody hell has Glasgow got the Commonwealth Games when they all thought they were going to Victoria? What happened there?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's but I was a state MP for a decade. The thing I loved about state politics was how connected to people's lives it was.
Yeah.
Like, if you stuff up state politics, you stuff up the schools and the public transport, the police, the hospitals. Like it's the level of government that is most directly responsible for things you absolutely bloody need. And so it needs to work. And in some ways, that's, I actually found state politics, it may not look that way at the moment in Victoria, so I want to, but when I was in New South Wales, we had a lot of fights, right? You have a lot of political fights. But at the end of the day, you have you live in the same city, like you live in Sydney or you live in Newcastle or you're familiar with Wagga, right? You're really familiar with the area and you have a kind of collective obligation to make the thing work. And in my experience, despite all the politics, there was more of that kind of coming together to make things work at a state level than I find at a federal level, which is a much more abstract level of politics. But when I'm watching what's happening in Victoria at the moment, it doesn't seem focused on making things work. And that's ultimately the job of state politics, to make things work. And people are feeling it. When I'm down in Victoria, I was in the western suburbs of Victoria doing some campaigning with my Greens colleagues, right? And you're driving along congested roads with half-finished roadworks into suburbs that have been built for 4 or 5 decades, some of them longer, 8, 9, 10 decades. They still don't have the libraries. They still don't have the medical services. And when that's not working, that's when political leaders lose their legitimacy at a state level. And you can feel it in Victoria, can't you?
You can. You really can. So as I said, by the time people get to listen to our chat, we'll still be in limbo. There'll either be a new leader of the Labor Party in Victoria with on a hiding to nothing, or they'll be in limbo for 6.5 weeks, having to take it to the executive.
Well, I mean, it's a nice change, isn't it? For once, at a state level, you're not seeing the Labor Party going into a catastrophic state election. And I'm thinking WA Labor when they put in Carmen Lawrence, New South Wales Labor when they put in Christina Keneally. The history says that when Labor's about to sort of fall off a cliff at election, they rapidly throw in a woman leader to try and save them. And this is a reverse in Victoria. They're about to go off a cliff and they're pulling away a woman leader and they'll put in some other bunny to see them through. But, maybe it's a save the furniture thing for them down there. That it probably is.
All right, let's move on to some other issues. Pauline Hanson has come under enormous criticism about her association with Gina Rinehart and financing her interview with Tommy Robinson. But I wanted to bring your attention to something. I couldn't believe what I watched on the ABC on The Insiders and the interview with David Spears and the Prime Minister concerning his attendance at a dinner that was hosted by a billionaire family. This family accused of funneling money from China. Now, just to bring this into context, I want to play this part of that interview with David Spears and Anthony Albanese. He refused to admit that he was there, not once, not twice.
No, I saw it. It was beyond awkward, wasn't it? It was like, I go to lots of dinners, I go to lots of dinners. I often eat with people.
Like, he refused to admit that he was at this dinner. But let's play that now, and we'll talk about it.
I want to ask you, PM, about the reports in the Nine newspapers over recent days about a private fundraising dinner. Firstly, did you attend a dinner at the home of Felix Lee in Point Piper?
Oh, look, I attend lots of functions.
What about this one?
I attend lots of functions in lots of places, including last night right here.
What about this dinner at Point Piper?
I attend lots of functions in
Why
lots
don't you want
of
to
places.
answer that?
Well, I do. You've just said that that occurred. That's fine. I attend lots of dinners in lots of places, and I don't talk about private dinners. I've held a number this week here in Adelaide as well.
Lots of fundraising. This one, the concern is that his father is accused by the tax office of deceiving authorities about funneling huge sums of money from China to Australia. Is that a concern for you?
Well, I'm not aware of those issues.
Should you have been aware?
He wasn't there. He wasn't there. I attended a dinner last night with 750 people.
I'm not asking about that.
But they're the facts, David. I attend a lot of meetings, functions with...
Okay, so here we are. He's finally admitted that he attended a dinner at the mansion of 25-year-old Felix Lee, which is in Point Piper in Sydney. Now, Mr. Lee's father, Philip Dong Fang Lee, faces allegations of deceiving the Australian Tax Office about his holdings in order to channel huge sums into Australian bank accounts. And that's ongoing. But we also have got to talk about Mr. Lee Jr. and his wife, who are not new to scrutiny either. The ATO has pursued the pair for $273 million in unpaid taxes in 2021, freezing their assets before reportedly settling the following year. Now, you'd think, given that Labor's criticism of One Nation's relationship, as I said, with Gina Rinehart, Energy Management Minister Christy McBain has said that politicians from all parties attend fundraisers frequently. Well, I get that, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. And when you woo people with big, deep pockets, nobody wants to donate without wanting something in return.
You don't think they just love democracy, Luke? You don't think it's just a festival and love of democracy
Possibly.
When Gina pays for it, or some cashed up Point Piper multi-millionaire pays for it? Or
well, let's just
you don't
remember
think it's just a deep, abiding love? I just love it.
Well, let's just maybe Gina Rinehart genuinely loves the cause, and just remember this: she pays an enormous amount of tax and employs a hell of a lot of people. But what gets me is, why did the Prime Minister so blatantly and obviously try to avoid admitting that he went to Point Piper to this mansion for a fundraiser, which was apparently 10 grand
Well, look,
ahead?
I think if you're so embarrassed to admit it afterwards, right, and you're squirming and you're avoiding like he did then, if you can't own up to it afterwards, don't go to it in the first place. I mean, that's a pretty good, I would have thought, a pretty good pub test if you're a politician. And watching him duck and squirm and weave and avoid the questions, I think it's the kind of response that puts politics into, people think, oh, bloody hell, I hate politics. Like, answer the question. The reports are that there was $1 million donation given. Now, maybe it was $1 million from a one-off donation. Maybe, everyone's sitting around that table at the Point Piper mansion. And for those who don't know Point Piper, it's like one of the most exclusive harbourside suburbs in Sydney. I don't believe Gina Rinehart gives money to politics without wanting something back from it. I don't believe multi-millionaires sitting in their Piper mansions give to politics without wanting something back from it. That's a corrupting influence in politics when it happens like that.
How powerful in Canberra is the lobby group? Because there are people there that earn their living whining and dining and trying to get a narrative across the line, a policy across the line. And the lobby group in Canberra is enormously powerful. And I don't think many of my listeners realise it.
It is crazy powerful. Like, do you reckon any of your listeners, if could jump on the phone, do you reckon they'd know the number? Call up the Prime Minister's office and say, we want to have a meeting. Can you put aside an hour in your diary? And, try doing that. Like, try doing after this podcast. Call up the Prime Minister's office and say, look, I want to have an hour in your diary sometime in the next 3 weeks. Can you fit me in? That does not happen for the public, right? But it sure as hell happens for the gambling lobby. It sure as hell happens for the property industry. It sure as hell happens for the arms manufacturers. It sure as hell happens for the pharmaceutical companies. It sure as hell happens for the big banks. Like, that is how our politics works. And that's what was happening. Albanese goes and he sits around some exclusive private dining table in Point Piper. Money flows in, the donations are flowing in, and he's sitting around, he's talking with them as they're giving him money, right? As they're giving him money, the conversation is happening. And I can't help but think that there were more promises made about changing the country around that table as the money was flowing in from the cashed up donors. There were more promises made about changing the country there in private than there were in the ALP conference that happened just a few days afterwards. And that's the way the bloody thing works.
So how transparent is our government? Because this is what concerns me. We, the punters, the voters, the taxpayers, we don't know a fraction of what goes on behind those closed doors.
Well, I mean, we're having a fight at the moment, for example, to force the government at a federal level to release ministerial diaries, right?
Yeah.
Just release who you met with and do it in close to real time.
Yeah.
You know, I met with Gina Reinhardt. I met with the gambling industry. I met with this French weapons manufacturer. I met with all these others. Show us who you met with, right? And then you can trace after the meeting what they did policy-wise, you know? And interestingly, at a state level, those ministerial diaries are released regularly, right? At least in New South Wales, and I'm most familiar with New South Wales. And that was a fight. They didn't want to release it. We had to force them to finally release their ministerial diaries, right? And so now at least you can see who they met with, right? And gets released 4 times a year, and you can see who the ministers met with. And that does put a check on politics and lets you see, you know, lift up the bonnet and have a look at how the bloody thing works. But I will tell you this, you know, lobbyists, and it's not just ones who are paid, you know, in lobbyist firms, but lobbyists who are paid by these corporations themselves. Their whole job is to go in there, get the contract, get the best deals, find out what's coming up next, make sure that legislation or policy doesn't fuck up their business model.
Yeah.
Like, that is what they're paid to do. They're down there 24/7 with, you know, the credit card open and the food and wine flowing, the corporate donations coming, and they are a bloody cancer on democracy.
How transparent is our government? It's a really good question, and it's a question that demands answers. However, if their diaries were made completely public through legislation, so it was the law, would that create an underground branch of communication where nothing was on paper?
That's already happening to a degree, right?
Yeah, of course
it's already happening. And at least we can control what you can control. I mean, the fact you can't control everything doesn't mean you should try and control as much as you can. So let's control their workday at least and have their workday at least visible to the public. And if, you know, increasingly what we're finding is when we use things like FOI to try and force the release of documents, that they're trying to avoid scrutiny there, and they're exchanging messages on Signal, and they're exchanging messages on WhatsApp, and they're having them on disappearing messages so that the messages disappear and you can't actually get a record of what they're doing. Now, I think that's illegal, right? It's a breach of the National Records Act.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. But when we try and force the issue, we have both the Coalition and Labor teaming up together and saying, no, you can't do this. This is all fine. Don't you worry about this. And the reason is because the Coalition did it when they were in government. If they ever get back into government again, they want to be able to do it again. And Labor's doing it now, they're in government. And it's this conspiracy really between the two of them to avoid transparency. You know, I think it's why you need more political parties. That's why I'm in the Greens, right? I wouldn't want to be in either of these parties. We don't take those big corporate donations. We have an ethical test before the money comes into the party. And I don't say we're always perfect, but, you know, we're not bankrolled by corporate Australia. It's very different. Overwhelmingly, we're funded by individuals.
Well, it was almost Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. It was unbelievable. Anyway.
But I come back to the point, right? If he had nothing to be ashamed about, he would have said, yep, I had a dinner with X and Y and Z. It was very cordial. We discussed this. Thanks so much for asking. But he couldn't say that.
It was extraordinary. Talk about corporate Australia and relationships with governments. I wanted to bring your attention to the interview on 60 Minutes between Tracy Grimshaw and Alan Joyce, the former CEO of Qantas, which I found extraordinary. He was asked, I thought it was a fairly easy ride. He was asked difficult questions but wasn't pushed back on any of them. Having being related to somebody who's worked closely with Qantas for 11 years now, I've kind of had an inside run as to how Qantas going from this iconic brand and the spirit of Australia to where some of the staff were copping shit from passengers because of Alan Joyce and policy. And there were a couple of things that came up that I'd love your thoughts on, because I can't understand why the government allowed Qantas to dominate through Qantas and Jetstar and not allow other airlines to fly domestic routes, which would have created competition and therefore cheaper airfares. The slot blocking that went on, which was at that point, it was legal but immoral, and it also stopped other airlines from being able to dock. They were found to have illegally sacked 1,800 workers. They enjoyed the benefits of JobKeeper, made it near $2 billion profit, and yet we find out during COVID that they were selling seats online on flights that didn't exist. They were selling seats on flights that had been cancelled but continued to sell them. And it goes on and on and on. He kind of fell short of offering a direct apology for blaming customers during post-COVID travel chaos. But he also said that he had to do what he had to do in order to save Qantas from bankruptcy. He said they were 11 weeks away from being insolvent, which is frightening. However, I guess when you're CEO, David, I'll shut up in a second because I'm dying to hear your thoughts on all of this. But when you're the CEO of a company, a public company like Qantas, you've got shareholders who want a return, but you've got customers who deserve service and loyalty. And loyalty built up over years of almost bowing down to this iconic brand, which I think still hasn't recovered. And whilst the government policy was supporting Qantas, somewhere out of the blue, the Prime Minister's son gets an invitation to be a member of the Chairman's Lounge, which is one of the most exclusive clubs in Australia, invitation only. And out of the blue, the Prime Minister's son gets offered membership. So I'll let you take it away.
Well, I mean, I fly Virgin, Allianz, Jetstar. I fly all the airlines, right? And Qantas. We do need diversity, don't we? We need competition and diversity to keep the prices down.
Let's look at Coles and Woolies, which I spoke to about with Nick McKim, your colleague. We talked about Coles. But
Nick wants to jail the CEOs of Coles and Woolies, and good luck to him in that. I support him in that endeavour. I was going to say Barnaby Joyce. Alan Joyce was the CEO for, I think it was 15 years, right?
Yes.
And you know what it is about Qantas? Why Qantas has that kind of catch? I mean, I still get a little catch when I see like that Qantas still call Australia home ad.
How
right?
good was that ad?
I see that ad and I get a kind of catch. I get an emotional catch. I feel connected to the country. It feels like kind of, and you know, when you fly home to Australia and the captain or the first officer calls in and says, you know, if you're coming home to Australia, welcome home. Like you still get that catch, that emotional catch, and you link it. You love the country, you love where you grew up, you link it to Qantas, and they have that emotional catch like no other airline does. And there's a reason for that, right? It's because it used to be publicly owned. It was our national airline when it was publicly owned, and it created that emotional link with us because it was actually part of us, because it was publicly owned. And I think it was an absolute crime to privatise it. And, you know, if I had my way, I'd bring it back into public ownership and have it become the national carrier again, a genuine national carrier. And I'd give it two clear directives. Provide as broad a service as you possibly can and provide it at the lowest reasonable cost while you're looking after the workforce. That's what I would say. And, you know, that should be, we should bring it back into national hands and we should give it that directive to be, again, a national carrier. But instead, we sold it to a bunch of bottom feeders, largely, you know, a bunch of them, you know, US private capital and other shareholders who just wanted to gouge our national carrier to maximize their profits. And who did they choose to do that? Well, they chose Alan Joyce. And he spent years cutting back the reserves, making it as slim an operation as he possibly could. And then when COVID hit, there was no fat no fat in the system. And then he then says, now I have to sack all the baggage handlers and I have to cut all the wages of the staff and I have to hack into all the human capital that had been built up for a century. The human capital had been built up over a century for Qantas. And he just smashed it like it didn't matter. After COVID, when people started wanting to travel again, it turned out that human capital was perhaps one of the most important things there was in Qantas, the experience of the baggage handlers to make the bloody system work. The goodwill of the staff who identified with and loved the airline and were willing to go that little bit extra to make sure that the service was there for the customers and that they would, put the extra shift in so that the flight could work. They wouldn't call in sick because it was important to them. Turns out that human capital was one of the bits of magic sauce that made Qantas work. And Alan Joyce did not give a flying, flying anything about it, right?
If you'll pardon the pun.
Yeah. So he smashed the human capital like the people didn't matter. And it turned out they did matter. And they absolutely matter if you want an organisation to run, particularly one that's a customer-related organisation. And, I often talk with the Qantas staff. They are really good people, right? They really want the thing to work. And many of them have been there for decades and they emotionally identify with it. But you saw them, they lost faith with the project. They lost that kind of connection with their work because of what management did to them. And, I felt for them then and I still feel for them now as they're trying to recover some of that.
It's a terrible shame for a brand that, as you said, had so much loyalty and the staff are great. The staff really love the place. It's an interesting thought. So should the government and the taxpayers of Australia again own Qantas? How would you go about doing that? Because when it's owned by shareholders, the shareholders want a return. They want a CEO that's going to fill their pockets. And if that means illegally sacking 1,800 workers and demolishing a brand, but mind you, during COVID, I guess you had a CEO who was trying to think on his feet and trying to make decisions very, very quickly. Can you give him some...
No, you cannot give him credit, right? Because the government paid, $2 billion in JobKeeper to keep those jobs in place. He took the money from the government and sacked the workers anyhow. I'm not going to give that bloke any credit at all. I mean, I think it's a disgrace what he did. I have zero time for him. And all the while he was taking home a salary that would have paid to basically run the baggage handler unit at Sydney Airport. I have no time for him. And, he had a tough time. He had a tough time because he was in the public spotlight, taking an obscene salary, screwing over thousands of workers whose entire lives and families he did not care about. I have no sympathy for that man at all.
He got a massive golden parachute. What was the payout at the end?
These are facts. These are facts. I try and block out of my mind the way in which corporate Australia, so the corporate world, right, is obviously run by a bunch of carpetbaggers who have worked out that if they're on the board and they're in the chief executive management elite, that their salaries just have to have no connection with anyone else's. Their returns have to have no connection with anyone else's. They've seized control of this incredibly, this wealth-generating part of our economy, and they're using it for their own purposes. And I think we should absolutely regulate them back into ordinary salaries.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So do you think Qantas as a brand can survive? Is it on the way back up?
Well, I think the staff are doing everything they possibly can. Like
Always
they
have, though.
I watch them.
Always
I watch
have.
them. Yeah, but when they were being smashed like that, and at that rate, it was next to impossible for them to sort of pick themselves up and do it. I watch the staff doing what they can. I think, for me, what I would love to see is I'd love to see it brought back into public hands. That would cost a bit of money, right? But from what I can tell, Joyce was telling us it was like an inch away from bankruptcy, right?
11 weeks.
Yeah, if it really was 11 weeks away from bankruptcy, then it wouldn't have cost a lot to buy it and bring it into public hands. And imagine if instead of giving $2 billion to bail it out, which went to the profits of the shareholders, imagine if at that point the government said, well, actually, do you know what? If you're going to go bankrupt, fine, we'll take it over. We'll pump the $2 billion in. We'll keep the staff there. We'll keep the routes open. We'll take control of it, and we're going to build an amazing piece of public enterprise. And we want it to be efficient, and we want it to be good service, and we're going to run it like it should run, with a customer focus, with an efficiency focus. We're going to get rid of the corporate profits, and instead of the corporate profits, we're going to return some of that to the workforce and some of that to the paying public, and we're going to make this an amazing institution. Imagine if we'd done that. Well, we'd be having a very different conversation right now, Luke.
We would indeed. One thing, it's both sides of Parliament, both sides of government that have supported Qantas and allowed them to have a duopoly, really, with Qantas and Jetstar. But can you please explain to me, and why didn't we hear more of this, how is it that after blocking overseas airlines being able to travel and carry passengers domestically at least, which would have brought the prices of those seats down, how is it that the Prime Minister's son was invited to join the chairman's lounge.
Well, I'm sure that if you have an interview with the Prime Minister, he'll answer you directly and clearly on that, Luke.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he'll give you a direct and clear and comprehensive answer, as he is renowned to do, Luke.
My son belongs to lots of lounges.
That's right. I've got a lounge at home. You know,
there's lounges everywhere. It's just another. It's just nothing to see here. Move on.
No.
I've got to tell you, I had a fascinating chat with a Jewish leader, and that's coming up on a future podcast. I'm talking about Executive Council of Australia Jury Code Chief Executive Alex Rifchin. It's a fascinating chat. But we're talking about the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism, and we'll find out exactly what that holds on the anniversary of the Bondi Massacre, December 14. But this fellow was telling me that he, with a number of other dignitaries, as well as the Sydney Swans and the coaches and the chief executive, went down to Bondi to pay their respects. And a woman came up to him and said, "What is an evil Zionist doing here?" And she was really aggressive, and other people heard it. We were talking about anti-Semitism and the hatred that comes to this country, possibly because of things happening overseas. And we saw it with the fall of Yugoslavia and the Croats and the Serbs and the violence and that sort of thing. And Australians don't want that. They want that left overseas. We want people here in Australia that are going to contribute and enjoy the great Australian spirit. But getting back to the Royal Commission, let me ask you this. Should the Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke, intervene and allow an ex-ASIO source to give evidence at this commission? Can you give us your thoughts on all of this and give us some background?
Yeah, so I've been following this closely now for pretty much all this year. And I first heard about it through journalists who contacted me and said that they knew that there was this source. This source had been actually, engaged by ASIO, working for ASIO inside Australia, had been following around some of and sort of involving himself in some of those circles in the western parts of Sydney where there was radicalised people, particularly young people, but others were being radicalised, and had, according to him, warned ASIO about these particular two people who ended up being those violent murderers, and had warned about concerns about them and had escalated it up, and ASIO did nothing with it, right? That's a summary of his evidence. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's a summary of his evidence. And he came out and told Four Corners about that. And then ASIO came out to try and discredit him, denied that he was a source, denied the veracity of what he said. That active discrediting from ASIO, all on background, none of it turning up and facing the media or anything. I think that's turned out to be false. I don't think anyone now seriously suggests that he wasn't actually working with ASIO. I think that's just turned out to be complete bullshit from ASIO as a way of trying to discredit it initially. He then got deported. We didn't get deported. He had to leave the country because his visa expired. He's now living overseas, and I won't tell you where. He's very concerned about him and his family's safety, but he wants to come. And in fact, the Royal Commission has asked him and said that they want him to come and give evidence to say what he knew and what he told ASIO in real time before this appalling, horrific shooting happened. So he applies through his lawyers for a visa to come to Australia.
Yes.
And a delegate of Tony Burke, the Home Affairs Minister, reviews his matter and says, "Look, I see you want to come. I've seen the refusal letter, by the way. You want to come to Australia to come and give evidence before the Royal Commission, but we are concerned that you might put a protection claim in when you come to Australia because you might be concerned about your life and being killed."
Yes.
Not an unreasonable concern, I might say. And you might want to have the protection of Australia. And because we are concerned you'll put a protection claim in, we're going to refuse your visa and not let you come to give evidence to the Royal Commission. Now, let's not forget that Tony Burke is the Minister for Home Affairs, right? And it was his delegate that refused it. Tony Burke is also the Minister responsible for ASIO.
Yes.
So he's also the Minister responsible for ASIO. So there's an incredible self-interest in the government in not getting this person who goes by the name of Marcus to come. That's not his actual name, but that's the pseudonym that's used.
That's the code name.
There is an absolute self-interest in the government not having Marcus come here and give evidence. And now I've had people say to me, I've been out publicly fighting for this, for him to be able to come and give evidence to the Royal Commission. I've been out publicly fighting with this. People said, why doesn't he just Zoom in, Like we're doing this now, Luke. Why doesn't he just Zoom in and give his evidence by Zoom from wherever he is overseas? And there are two very simple reasons why he won't. First of all, he doesn't have any of the protections himself under Australian law if he's giving evidence to the Royal Commission overseas, right? So if he breaches secrecy laws or he breaches national security laws, the protections under the Royal Commission Act will not apply to him because he's giving evidence overseas. And secondly, the Australian laws that criminalise anyone having a go at him, attacking him, harming him because he gave evidence, and there would be people who would want to harm him because he gave evidence. The Australian laws that make that a crime, to harm someone because they gave evidence to the Royal Commission, also don't apply to conduct that happens overseas. And so he is incredibly exposed if he gives his evidence overseas. And of course he wants to come to Australia and have the legal protections here. And if it comes at the cost of giving him a protection visa, I mean, all he has is the right to seek one, right? He doesn't get one. All he gets is the right to seek some protection under Australian law. If that's what it costs to get the evidence about what the bloody hell ASIO knew and what the government knew, if that's what it costs, well, I can tell you, my sense is the Australian public would be super happy to pay for that. And remember, the guy was working for ASIO to try and keep us safe, to try and infiltrate and work out how to disrupt this stuff, right? He was actually trying to keep us safe. And the idea that they're refusing his visa for these grounds, I tell you what, it's outrageous. So if anyone feels like I do, passionate about this, send bloody Tony Burke an email and say, you're the minister, sort it out. It's my understanding that his team are going to put in a fresh visa application. And so again, the test will be, do they want a Royal Commission that hears the truth? Or have they already worked out the narrative? Have they already worked out what it's going to say? And they don't want the truth to get in the way of it. I'm fearful that they've already worked out the narrative.
All right, we'll keep a very close eye on that. Lots of questions that need answers. Senator David Shoebridge, always good. I've got to ask you, are you a member of the Captain's Lounge, of the Chairman's Lounge?
Oh, I go to lots of lounges, Luke. Yes, I am. I am a member. I am a member of the Chairman's Lounge, and I haven't denied it. And I've got to tell you, it is an absolute benefit. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. It's an absolute benefit because you spend so much time flying around, sitting in airports, doing this. It is an absolute benefit, and you shouldn't deny it. I publicly disclose it. I put it on my disclosures.
But there are lounges you can go to for $50 and stay there for 2 hours and enjoy the buffet. And you can pay for. There are plenty of lounges at the international airport. I've seen them. I've walked past them.
Yeah, and at domestic airports, like you can pay for Qantas, you could pay for this, you could pay for that. You absolutely can. I'm not saying it's not a benefit. Like, people assume that your life as a senator is full of all this amazing gifts and things. I mean, it's not my experience. Maybe I'm a Green senator. I don't get them all, but this is one that actually does make the huge amount of travel you do much better. I'm not pretending it's not a benefit. It super is a benefit.
So what does Qantas want? See, we were talking about donations and lobbyists and wooing people. So what does Qantas want in return, David Shoebridge, for offering you this great luxury?
Well, I would say that they want me to feel good about Qantas. I would say that's what they want. They want me to feel good and positive about Qantas. And, and to be honest, Virgin offers the same thing. And they want me to feel good and nice about Virgin. Virgin offers the same thing. They want you to feel good about them. That's what they're trying to get out of it. So,
okay, can I just say this? I want to be completely transparent. Qantas, if you're listening, I want to feel good about Qantas. And I'm happy to receive membership to one of your lounges.
But you've got plenty of lounges, Luke.
I've got lounges everywhere. I've got a lounge out there and a lounge down there.
So, but you ask me and I answer, right? And that's what actually should happen. And there should be full disclosure about this sort of stuff. And I get why people get shitty about it, right? I do. I get why people get shitty about it. And what I would hope to see, what I would love to see Qantas be a national carrier. I'd like to see it operating for the public. And if that comes at the cost of getting rid of the Chairman's Lounge and getting rid of the ways in which they duchess corporate and public, leaders, it's a price I'd be super willing to pay to turn it back into what I think it should be, an amazing national carrier.
Apparently it's got a secret entrance. Is that right?
There's no markings. There's a golden door.
It's a hidden panel.
There's a panel that opens up and you go into the panel that opens up.
And what's inside? Give us a tour. What do you?
I mean, the staff are nice. They're actually really nice people. Like most Qantas staff, really nice people. And you've got a bunch of lounges, and you can get some coffee and a bite to eat before you go on. It's a sort of fancy version of the Qantas Club.
The Qantas Club. Once again, transparency. I don't have a commercial contract or agreement with Qantas, but Qantas, if you're listening.
You're open to it, are you, Luke?
I'm open to it.
That's very generous of you. Virgin has a similar.
I've been in cities all around.
Maybe you should pitch to Virgin. Virgin has a similar version as well in most of the major domestic airports in Australia. And so I don't know what the Virgin song is, but I don't know if I want to hear it, Luke.
Madonna. I like Virgin. I'm willing to try it for the very first time. See, I'm an ideas man.
But look, it comes back to, I think, the country is increasingly run with a kind of people get some sort of special access. And to be honest, as a senator, you get some special access, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. And, the corporate elite get some kind of special access. We have this myth about Australia, about it being this amazing fair go where, there's equal opportunity for everybody. And, it doesn't matter where you're born or how you've done, you can find your way through and get to excel under some kind of meritocracy. And people are feeling, I think, less and less like the meritocracy is in place. Like, if you're not born with sort of wealthy parents or some kind of advantage, well, then how do you find your way through? And let's have a chat, I think, next time about what's gone wrong with equality in this country. And I think that would be actually useful, Luke.
I've just got to finish this off with Virgin, Qantas, Etihad, Emirates. I can be bought.
I think the lounges in the Gulf are actually going cheap at the moment, Luke. I think you could find yourself getting the slightly less bomb-proof Emirates lounge in the Gulf at a cheaper price now than
that's very funny.
Happening.
I want to know, does the Chairman's Lounge serve Jeremy Clarkson's Hawkston Lager? I want to try that. Have you tried that? Have you seen the show?
I haven't.
You've got to see Clarkson's Farm, but start from the beginning. It is so interesting on so many levels. The joys and the tears surrounded with farming. I've got to tell you, David, I want you to give it a go.
I will. I'll give it a look. I'm trying to have a couple of days off, so maybe I will on the weekend stream Clarkson's Farm. But there is something, isn't there, about your job and my job is pretty bloody abstract. We talk about stuff. Yeah. And when I was at school, I went to an agricultural high school in Sydney, and I can contour plough, I can strip down a lawnmower, I can get the bedizos out and, neuter sheep and stuff. Like, it was all very practical and real, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I look back on that time with a great deal of fondness. But a job where actually growing food, making things, it is, I think that's probably, there's a deep attraction to that when you're doing a lot of abstract work. Like, I still love, if I get time off, doing some carpentry at home, building some bookshelves, fixing a door. Like, there is something about having practical
something.
job, having made something at the end of the day.
Having created something. It is.
And more of that. And more of that in our economy, I reckon.
Yeah. I paint. It's another topic for another day. It's in the other lounge. Hey, David Shoebridge, good to talk. Catch up soon.
Yep, see you soon.
Welcome to a show called The Man Cave. Man Cave. With Boner on the mic, it's a good day. Good day. Adam McDonald and Kelsey too. Thomas behind the scenes, producing all the goods.
And folks, good day, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, or wherever you are, welcome to another Man Cave, one of our favourite segments here on the Bonafide podcast. And the Vice Captain is rugged up, ready to go in his bunker in the nation's capital. G'day, brother.
G'day, Skip. Hey, Kels, it is bloody cold here this morning. The wind is icy.
What is it? The official temperature overnight in Canberra these days?
I think it sits around 3 or 4.
No,
it's not pleasant.
If it's frost and if people's fish ponds are freezing over, that's minus, isn't it?
All right, so it's currently in beautiful downtown Fyshwick. It's 5 degrees, but feels like 2.
Because you get the wind off the snow.
The wind.
You get the win. Evans Hastings, you've got some exciting news. Your podcast studio is, a week or a couple of weeks away from being ready?
Yes, I think next week we'll be in what we've dubbed the media room. The microphones are coming in. I've got the acoustic panels coming in tomorrow. Desktop's coming. It's all coming together nicely.
And I want to know this. How'd you go with Dry July? We're at the end of July now, so did you get through unscathed?
I'm still unscathed. I'm still dry. We set a goal at raising $750. We're at $753 at the moment, so we're absolutely nailing it. So I'm just going to give a shout out to some of the people who have donated. There's my mate Kells. She lobbed in $50.
Good on you, Kells.
Dean McNulty's one of our listeners, and he said,
Dean,
well done, Adam. I did it 2 years ago and I've still not had another drink. I feel great. Steve Palomara, Anita, my mate Brooke Sharp, Drina, Paul Scary, Bradley Potts, my mate Ren. So everyone's lobbed in. We've got a couple of days to go, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good about it. Both me and my partner are still dry. The thing is, the 1st of August, remember my mate Cuz, the old fella that I worked with that we had on here?
Yes.
He's been here for 30 years. He retires on Friday. So we're having a lunch on the 1st of August. We're all going out to lunch with the company. And he's like, I chose a date just so you could get over the line, get through Dry July. He's calling it Paugust because he thinks he's just going to keep pouring me wine. So
I love that.
That's really good. Dry July and then Paugust.
Paugust, we're going to Paugust.
Hey, listen, I'm really proud of you, and because I know you do like a Shiraz, and you don't drink to excess, but you enjoy 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah,
and you are fussy. You like your Aussie Shirazes,
the hearty reds, yes, the full body reds.
Yeah, but I'm really proud of you, and your initiative was all good, mate. So well done, Adam McDonald. A round of applause. Do I push my button, Kelsey?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, that's it. Well done, Adam McDonald, Evans Hastings. Listen, just a little preview for today's episode. You've got a bit of show and tell, and we'll get to that. No, hold on to it.
I won't show it yet, yep.
And your items as well. And also, I've got some news that I was going to release exclusively here on the Man Cave, and I couldn't do it last week, but I can this week, Adam. So I'm going to bring our listeners that it's huge news. I don't want to usurp your news, Adam. So do we let you do your news and then I do mine? So
no, let's get yours off your chest. It's obviously weighing on you.
Well, okay, this is what we call a hook so that people listen further to the podcast. Oh, no, hang on podcast you can scroll to your favourite bit.
Yeah.
Don't scroll. Listeners, do not scroll. Stay with us because that's coming up. Kelsey, we had a bit of a debate last week about asking people if chicken salt or regular salt was better. Now, why did we get onto this again?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, I know why. Because I did this on Sunrise on Channel 7, Vice Captain.
Yeah.
There was a story about a pub that was charging a lot extra. Right. Listen to this. They were charging extra to have chicken salt on your fish and chips. They charged extra.
Guess how much?
Are you serious?
$5 extra.
For chicken salt?
For chicken salt.
See, this is a raw. So like, I remember when people started charging for tomato sauce, an extra 20 cents or 40 cents or 50 cents or whatever. It's horseshit. It's you're ordering a sandwich and they charge extra for bread. Like it's part and parcel.
No, they still do. They still do charge extra for tomato sauce up the road here.
Yeah, they do it everywhere.
One of those little packages that you got to squeeze and then it shoots on your chest. Now, I've done a deep dive.
$5? How do you get to that price? You can buy your own sack of salt for $5.
Now, I've done a deep dive into this, Vice Captain, and chicken salt is way more expensive to buy than normal salt. Let me explain. Chicken salt is more expensive to manufacture. It uses ingredients like salt, but it has stock powder, onion powder, garlic powder, and MSG, monosodium glutamate. Restaurants charge extra for it. Now, I'm with you. I don't think you should charge for condiments. Now, can I ask you this? Because I can't remember. When you go to Bunnings and have your saucy sizzle on a Saturday, and there's the Nippers or the Lifesavers or the Boy Scouts or whoever, do they charge you extra for salt, for tomato sauce?
No, they don't charge you extra for onions either.
Don't they?
No. I think the standard's $2.50, and you can get a $2 drink. Someone was telling me a story the other day that they had an international guest, and they were showing around and say we want to do something that's really Australian, so they took them to Bunnings for a sausage.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely perfect. Well, anyway, That's the background to this survey. Kelsey, take over.
So part of this story, Adam, is that Luke does not like chicken salt.
I hate it.
He hates chicken salt.
Can't stand it.
Who invented it? It hasn't been around forever, has it? Like it
No,
sort
it
of came in the
invented-
90s?
It was invented by a guy in Victoria, I'm pretty sure. So
Really?
chicken salt was invented by Peter Brinkworth in the early 1970s at his retail
Wow.
chicken shop in Gowler, South Australia.
South Australia.
So it's an Australian... Why don't we have a big chicken salt somewhere?
A big bag of chicken salt.
A big bag. The big chicken salt. Anyway, we asked people if chicken salt or regular salt was better. Kelsey.
And the results are in. And I can't believe anyone voted for regular salt, but they did. However, it was not the winner. Chicken salt, 77.3% of people said that chicken salt was better than regular salt, which I think we all knew.
But you can't put chicken salt on fish. Like on your fish and chips.
Oh,
yes, they do.
definitely can.
That's just weird.
That's what the pub was doing, Adam. This is the whole thing. They were charging.
That's weird.
Anyway, I can't stand it, but that's just me. But our local fish shop down the road, which I went to yesterday to do research on this program, I kept the receipt so I can claim it on tax because it's research for the podcast. They do not charge extra for chicken salt. They do not charge extra for salt, and they do not charge extra for vinegar.
Does anyone still use vinegar?
I love vinegar. I love vinegar and chips.
Yes, absolutely.
100 and on potato scallops, or if you're in Victoria, potato cakes. Anyway, there you are. I'm on the outer here. People think chicken salt's better. Yeah. Now, Kelsey, you mentioned something the other day, which I wanted to talk to Brother Adam about. We should have got Bill, the coffin confessor.
Oh, yes.
To come on with this one. But Kelsey, explain.
So there is an organisation that is creating a national Spotify playlist of your funeral song, the song that you would play at your funeral. And it's to promote like conversations about end of life. So I asked Luke what his end of life song was. What did you say?
Well, something I want played at my funeral.
Yeah.
Highway to Hell. AC/DC.
Mine was Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
What's yours, Brother Adam?
Give me 10. I'll think of something.
Well, I'll tell you what Granny Sue's is. So Granny Sue emailed in and she said, "Run Around Sue." Do you know that song?
Run Around Sue. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. She also said, "And when my ashes are spread at sea, take me home country road." They were picked by her sons.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Run Around Sue, I think it was first made a hit by Dion. But a lot of people have done it, but Dion had the big hit with it, yeah.
I've never heard this song in my life.
And then at the same time, and people were saying about this terrible girl called Sue who was a runaround. She went off with everybody. What a slut. And then at the same time, they were singing songs.
No shaming.
Yeah, but then there were, this is the double standards. Then there was a song at the same time called I'm a Wanderer. I'm a wanderer. The man saying, I'm a wanderer, I can do what I want. I run the round, I go on the round, I get around. And yet they're shaming slutty Run Around Sue.
Yeah, no good.
I've never heard this song before. Can we just have a little quick listen to this?
Yeah, okay. Hopefully this is Dion, the original.
It is, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I love this song.
Yeah.
This is a great funeral song. Love that. Great funeral song, Granny Sue.
Okay, so his heart's broken because she's running around with everyone. Now play I'm a Wanderer, which is... have we got time?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's piling shit on slutty Sue running around, and then we hear about the bloke who's proud of himself because he's a wanderer and no one can hold him down. Now, have a listen to this. Double standards. I kiss him and I love him and I...
Well,
But there's my point, Adam and Kelsey. Run Around Sue's a slut because she's running around, rooting everything that moves. And what a terrible person. And there he is, Dion, the same bloke who's proud to be a wanderer.
Double
and
standards.
he would root a rabbit hole during an earth tremor. So
there's a picture.
Oh my God.
So I'm just saying, these are the double standards that our parents grew up with, our grandparents.
Should put a content warning on this segment.
I think you do.
Another one bites the dust. Here's another good funeral song.
Oh, yeah, I'd go with something like that.
And then the Bee Gees, Staying Alive, which I like. Please, folks, send us in the song that you want played at your funeral. Leave us a voice message. If you can sing it, you'll get a prize. You've got to be able to sing a little bit of it. 0291289311. Okay, so our TV screens have been full for the last couple of weeks of the Commonwealth Games, which are being held in Glasgow. Why are they held in Glasgow? Well, they were supposed to be held here in Australia, in particular in Victoria. And Daniel Andrews went to an election saying, fantastic news, we've won the bid for the 2026 Commonwealth Games, knowing full well, by the way, there's a new premier in Victoria now. Jacinta Allen fell on her sword yesterday and her deputy is now premier. But I just want to get back to this. So he went to the election saying, how good is this? Knowing full well that the maths didn't work and that they were never going to be able to afford it. So after the election, he said, oops, can't do it. And then he said, well, we want New South Wales and the other states to pitch in and help. And New South Wales and the other states said, you're kidding.
No way.
We got Brisbane Olympics coming up, which we've all expected to chip in for. You were stupid going for the 2026 Commonwealth Games. And so in a hurry, they had to find somewhere else that had infrastructure. And they went to Glasgow. I am not going to make any friends here today. So I'm asking the question, are the Commonwealth Games relevant? Now, just let me finish. And I bet you'll both tear strips off me, and my listeners will. I think it's great that Australia's doing so well. In fact, if I look at the current leaderboard, and at the recording of today's Man Cave, Australia had 80 medals, 35 gold. Next in line's Canada on 35 with 13 gold. England's next, 43 with 10 gold, and then it goes down. So we're good at beating England and Canada and possibly Scotland, Nigeria, track and field, and then you've got Jamaica with 2, India 2, Kenya 1, and these other great powerhouses in the Commonwealth, Cyprus, nothing, Northern Ireland, duck egg, Ghana, next to nothing.
Got silver and bronzes in there?
So, I'm going gold here, yeah. Singapore, no gold, 1 silver, 1. Anyway, that's fantastic. But if you want to get my interest, make it a truly international contest. The Olympics. And if you want individual sports to have their time in the spotlight and not have to wait every 4 years, you've got the international championships. You've got the world championships. Swimming, Australia nailing it in the pool as we're expected, but you've also got the Pan Pacifics. You've got the world championships. You've got the Commonwealth Games. And you got the Olympic Games. Fantastic stuff. But I don't find the Commonwealth Games relevant. I'm not going to sit up at 2 a.m. I would if it was Kathy Freeman running for an Olympic gold. But I'm not. It just hasn't turned me on. I know I'm going to get hammered. But are the Commonwealth Games relevant? Vice Captain.
No, they're not. You're exactly right. I mean, I'm a huge sports fan and I've not watched 1 minute of it. Like, it really doesn't matter. It's like getting a gold at the Commonwealth Games is like getting a bloody participation ribbon. Do you know what I mean? It's not everybody. It's like we're being a bit exclusive now. No, you're really fast and you're really good, so you're not invited. Hats off to the athletes who are winning these gold because they've trained really hard and they're at the peak of their physical prowess. I get it, and good luck to them. But me as a fan, I want to see the best of the best. So I don't want to see, like, I'm not going to buy tickets to watch B grade, am I?
Well, you see, we might get hammered.
Taking nothing away from the athletes are there. Like, they put their heart and soul and their life into this. And good luck to them, but me as a fan, I'm not into it.
I'm not either, and I probably won't get invited back onto Channel 7. I'm not taking anything away from them. And I tell you what, I will watch the women hopefully beat. It'll probably be New Zealand at the recording of today's podcast. I don't know, the netball. But am I going to get up at 3 a.m? Possibly not. You don't
have to. They have replays.
That's a good thing. Kelsey?
Well, I mean, I don't personally care about the Commonwealth Games, but I'm also not a massive sports fan. I don't know. I think, this is just another notch that athletes can put on their belt to give them confidence to try for that Olympic game. So, I don't know. I think,
so what,
we're
the Australian
a sporting
Championships,
nation.
So the Australian Championships, the Pan Pacifics, World Championships, and the Olympics aren't enough?
No.
Okay, I'm probably wrong, and I'm going to get hammered, but tell me what you think. And I'm going to say one more thing, and I'm going to get seriously hammered here, but I'm going to say it.
It's not like you at all.
Adam, Vice Captain.
Yes.
Do you know what the Olympic motto is off the top of your head?
Live long and prosper.
No, that's Star Trek. That is Star Trek, you missile. Oh, Jesus.
No, I don't.
Okay. It is Citius, Altius, Fortius, and that means faster, higher, stronger together. Citius, Altius, Fortius, commutia. Faster, higher, stronger. I am saying get rid of all sports that involve a judge's decision on artistic integrity and the rest of it.
Yeah, that's hard.
I want the fastest. I want the first past the post. I want who can jump the highest. I want to see who is the strongest. Where it's a definite winner, and that is the Olympic motto. If it comes up to a bitchy Russian judge judging someone in gymnastics because they turned their foot sideways at the wrong time or bounced on a landing or something, piss off.
But that's what gymnastics is, though. Gymnastics is about precision.
Okay, but it's up to a judge's interpretation. I want to see.
That's exactly right.
They do judge based on part of the scoring criteria is difficulty of stunts. Like
it's up to a judge.
The judges get like what the routine's going to be beforehand. So what they're looking for is how well did they execute the routine they set out to do. The judges know what they're going to.
I want to see a sport. Okay, like team sports where there's a winner. You scored more points than them, you're the winner. I don't want a judge's interpretation deciding a gold and silver or a bronze because they've got a beef with somebody. Look.
Yeah, you're right. Anything that comes down to artistic integrity, like maybe I'm not into a triple uts at the end of the routine. You know,
Sorry, what was that?
It's a triple uts. It's a gymnastic term. Look it up.
Is it?
I don't know. I think it is. I think I heard it on the Wide World of Sports.
That's very good.
But you might not think that the way that the routine was put together was to your liking. So judging on artistic integrities is it shouldn't be in there.
Have your world championships, be a world champion. But I just think the Olympics should be faster, higher, stronger, together. Citius, Altius, Fortius, communta, higher, faster, stronger together. You watch. I'm going to get hammered, Adam.
Yeah, I won't be here.
Hey, listen, I know that Kelsey and I touched on this, but I wanted to talk to you, Adam, as a massive rugby league fan and a follower of the Newcastle Knights, big time. But this isn't just about rugby league. This is about sport in general, professionalism, where there is a lot on the future of a sport, on a club, on an individual player that rests on, I think, the wrong people's shoulders. Now, can I just go over this?
Yes.
I did touch on this with Kels the other day, but Adam, you'd be right across this. And I'm talking about a club that once again is in turmoil, and that is the West Tigers. Just to give you a bit of background before brother Adam jumps in. You've got a marquee player, one of the best players in the NRL, in halfback Adam Douay, spelled Doueiha. Douay. And he was facing the judiciary last week, Adam, on a head-high tackle, possibly facing 2 weeks suspension. He gets on the phone to his coach, Benji Marshall, and the reason I'm giving you this background, Vice Captain, is to try and give both sides of the story. So he rings his coach, Benji Marshall, and says, what do you reckon I should do about heading to the judiciary? According to my information, Benji Marshall said to him, whatever you want. He went, what? This is a marquee player, Adam. If he fights it at the judiciary and loses, he's out for some time, because if you plead innocence and get proven guilty, you get more time.
That's right, yep.
Had he pled guilty, he would have got 2 weeks, possibly one, depending on what grading it was given.
Yep.
But he was definitely going to miss the following week's game against the Canberra Raiders in Canberra, where the West Tigers got hammered.
Absolutely hammered.
Absolutely hammered. So he goes to the judiciary, Vice Captain, fights it. His coach, Benji Marshall, doesn't even turn up at the judiciary. Doesn't turn up. He wins. He's available to play the next week. You'd think, hooray. He doesn't even hear from his coach when he gets home. You'd expect your coach to say, well done, son.
Yeah.
Not a word, according to my inside information. The next day, he gets a phone call from one of his teammates and says, while you are in the judiciary, next week's team has been posted and you're on the bench and you'll be playing as lock. He says, what? He said, you better check it out with your coach, but you're on the bench and you'll be coming off the bench to play at lock forward instead of number 7. So he talks to Benji Marshall, and Benji says, yeah, I think you're a utility player. You can play anywhere. And we've got this new young kid coming up. I want you to play at lock off the bench. He said, no. Now, this guy, Adam Douay, or Dewey, just remember when the skipper of the West Tigers, Adam, Jerome Luai announced he was leaving to go to Papua New Guinea. Next year, he's going to Parramatta for 1 year, and then he's off to PNG as a marquee player. So the leadership of the team has been on the West Tigers halfback, Adam Douai, holding the change room together, the dressing room, because the leadership has gone from their on-field captain, who's disappearing at the end of the season to Parramatta, then to Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
So he feels incredibly disrespected. So he said, F you, if I'm playing at lock and coming off the bench, I'm not playing. Now, he created a lot of criticism because when you're a professional athlete, you do what the coach says and you don't throw your toys out of the cot because you're not playing in the position you think you should be playing in. The reason I gave you that long, detailed background, Adam, was to try and say I think there are two stories here.
Yeah.
The other problem is Adam Douai's manager does not get on with Benji Marshall and a lot of the other coaches. Here's the question, Adam. Long build up to your answer. Who's in charge? The coach, your top player, the chief executive, or the CEO, or the managers? Adam, I'll let you take it away. Oh, and one more thing, Adam.
Yes.
And Adam Douai says, and the discipline that Benji Marshall promised was going to come to the West Tigers is gone. You go to the weights room and there are players vaping. There are players vaping in the weight room while they're training. That's where the discipline's out the effing window. Sorry, Adam. I needed to put that in. Off you go.
That's right. So I think with the Tigers, there's a lot of levels. There's a lot of things going on there. A couple of years ago, when Benji came across, they all made a promise to each other. We're going to build a squad. We're going to stick together.
But just remember, before Benji took over, he was under the wing of Tim Sheens, who was a brilliant coach, and Tim was grooming Benji into that leadership role. And so you had Tim Sheens where if there was a problem like this, it would be deflected to Tim Sheens and he'd handle it. And I don't know how he would have handled this. Sorry, Adam.
They all sort of the Tigers, when they started getting this squad together, they all made a pledge that we're going to stick together. Like Jerome Luai came over from the Panthers and said, I'm going to make this my team. I'm going to, this is where I'm going to make my dynasty. I'm going to make my mark as a standalone player coming out from under the wing of Nathan Cleary. So now Adam's in this point where Jerome's leaving. And, I don't blame Jerome. He's going 1 year at Parramatta, then he's going to PNG for a tax-free end of his career.
Look after your family.
You've got to. You've only got, these players only have a certain amount of time. Like, this is their job as their livelihood. So I say when the sun shines, you make hay.
And it's a contact sport. So you bust an ACL.
That's right.
Or do a Tommy Turbo on your hamstring that's never going to get better.
That's right.
You're gone.
You're gone and you've got no more career left. So I don't blame the guys, but obviously there is a lot of ill feeling between the players and the coaches. And, let's be honest, the managers are only out for one person, and that person is the person they see in the mirror. They're all about player welfare and building teams. It's horseshit. The players are out for the player managers are out for the player managers. And so the more money your player gets, the more money you get as a manager. And if you think about the West Tigers, right, when Balmain amalgamated with the Western Suburbs Magpies, their junior base, they do have the best junior comp in the country, the southwest of Sydney, the Campbelltown area. That's where all these young players are coming through. Why aren't they coming through the Tigers system? They're all coming up through that suburb and that area, and then they're getting poached by other teams because no one wants to be at a losing club. No one wants to be at a club. You can't see the finish line with the Tigers.
And the managers don't want their players to play for a shit club where they're not going to become a marquee player.
That's exactly right.
And play representative footy like State of Origin or the Kangaroos. That's right. The managers want their players. The managers get 10%. The managers want their players to go to a winning team so that they have a better chance of earning more. Correct?
That's right. I mean, all clubs go through it. Newcastle Knights went through it for the last 10 years. We were wooden spooners over and over and over again. But we just sort of reset. We kept our juniors. We kept taking all the young blokes out of Cessnock and the Hunter area where they're coming out with their mullets and they want to stick with the club. They want to be at one. And now Kalen's hitting the go. Dylan Lucas. We bought Dylan Brown. So it took us a long time, and we finally got a good coach. That was the main thing with Newcastle. Always had a shit coach. Now we've got Holbrook. We were wooden spooners last week. last year. We won the wooden spoon last year. We will play finals this year. Absolutely no doubt. So all clubs go through it, but I think there's many levels of issues at the Tigers at the moment. There's many. I mean, vaping in the weight room, I think that's a tip of the iceberg.
Okay, there's more to this than meets the eye, brother Adam. I totally agree. And you know what? We only know what's leaked from the club because let me give you a classic example of the poor communication skills coming from this club. After all this drama, which, by the way, after the flogging that the Tigers got from camp, they should have fixed it on the Sunday. They let the Sunday go and they didn't have a meeting with Benji Marshall and Adam Douai until the Monday with the CEO, Sean Mellencamp. Why did they let it stew for a day and give the media and rumour and innuendo more time to fester?
That's the problem.
And then they wanted Adam Douai to turn up without his manager. No way in the world. You go to your employer with a drama, HR, you have right for representation, a witness, you have a right to have someone there watching your back. So how dare they ask him to turn up not represented? That's one. So after their meeting on the Monday, Adam, this West Tigers CEO, Sean Mellencamp, comes out to the microphone. It's unfortunately, the most talked about issue in rugby league this week, and it's not over because he fueled it. Do you know why? 21 seconds he spent at the microphone in front of the media saying that everything's fine. It was a positive meeting. Dewey's returning to the team. He will be playing at number 7. It was a productive meeting, but what went on in that meeting stays in the meeting. Goodbye.
Yeah.
What?
You owe your fans, you owe your members, you owe your members explanations instead of leaving them in the dark. Like, people have paid their hard-earned money. Like, you still go to Leichhardt on a Sunday afternoon, that place is still packed, regardless of how shit they're going. Their fans are loyal, and you owe it as a club, as a CEO, as a manager, as a coach. You owe your members an explanation.
Yeah, but saying what went on in the meeting stays in the meeting is only just fueling it more.
Yeah.
And how do you reckon the other players feel that their marquee player threw his toys out of the cot? Or do you think maybe they think, yeah, you were disrespected? I mean, how could Benji Marshall not turn up to a judiciary? How could Benji Marshall, when he says, what do you think, should I fight this or not? And Benji goes, whatever you reckon. What?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good coaching. It's really not.
It wouldn't have happened under Bob Fulton or Tim Sheens.
No.
It wouldn't have happened under Wayne Bennett.
Malcolm Riley, none of them. No.
Malcolm Riley talking about Newcastle. How good was he? How good was he? Anyway, here's the question, folks. Who has more control? And we're talking rugby league, but let's go all sports. Should it be the coach who has the final say? Do you listen to your top players? Or is it the CEO? Or are you concerned, like me and Adam, that managers now have way too much power? Let us know what you think.
I think the coach should have the final say. Like, it's his game plan.
Yeah, but if the coach doesn't have the support of the dressing room, the coach will go. The coach will go. There are three C's that make a successful team, Adam. Number 1, your captain, your coach, and your CEO. And if you can get all 3 happy, everyone's happy. And Manly found that out, and now winning more games than they were under Seabold, and everyone's going, oh, how good is Fosball? Even though Manly got beat last week, we're competitive again. You've got to have the captain, the coach, and the CEO all in harmony.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I just wanted to, before you do your show and tell, I just wanted to share something with you. And I mentioned this with Senator David Shoebridge, but I wanted to show you a great example of, do you remember Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes?
Yep.
I know nothing. So what's happened is Pauline Hanson's been under a lot of pressure because of her possible financial association with Gina Rinehart. Gina Rinehart has been supporting One Nation and Pauline for a while now and underwriting a lot of her expenses. Mind you, any expense that's spent on One Nation or any political party has to turn up in an expenses register, and that will all be made transparent. But no one's been more critical of Pauline Hanson than the Labor Party and their leader, Anthony Albanese. So to put this in perspective, Adam, because I just found this funny, and I shouldn't, the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, recently went to a fundraising dinner at the home of a billionaire. His name is Felix Lee. Now, Adam, Felix Lee is the son of Philip Dong Fang Lee And Mr. Lee's father is facing serious allegations of deceiving the ATO about his holdings to order the channel huge sums of money. He's under a lot of scrutiny at the moment. So you've got a 25-year-old Adam in Felix Lee, and I'm all for young people being successful. Felix Lee, his mansion is worth $45 million. 25-year-old owns a $45 million mansion in Port Piper. Good on him. Good on him. But it was a Labor Party fundraiser. And so on The Insiders, hosted by David Spears on the ABC last week, David Spears asked him, did you go to a fundraiser at the home of 25-year-old Felix Lee? Adam, would you think that's a simple question?
Very easy question.
You were either at a fundraiser or you weren't. Have a listen to how he answers this, Adam. Just have a listen to how he answers it.
I want to ask you, PM, about the reports in the Nine newspapers over recent days about a private fundraising dinner. Firstly, did you attend a dinner at the home of Felix Lee in Point Piper?
Oh, look, I attend lots of functions.
What about this one?
I attend lots of functions in lots of places, including last night right here.
What about this dinner at Point Piper?
I attend lots of functions in
Why
lots
don't you want
of
to
places.
answer that?
Well, I do. You've just said that that occurred. You know, that's fine. I attend lots of dinners.
Yeah, so all donations have to be declared. That's not the question. David Spears said, did you attend a fundraiser at the home of Felix Lee? A simple question.
Very simple. He's on the rope-a-dope there, isn't he?
What
he's
did you make?
He's ducking and weaving. Well, he's been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He went and trying to raise funds.
$10,000 a head to go there.
Yep, from a dubious source. From a very dubious source.
And we're talking about allegedly a $1 million donation to the Labor Party. Now, if that donation comes through, fine. Gina Reinhardt, Twiggy Forrest, people make donations.
Yeah.
Very few people make donations without wanting something in return, however. But if that donation is made, it's there on the pecuniary interest list, and that's fine. But why did he not say, yes, I was at a $45 million mansion owned by a 25-year-old Felix Lee, whose father is under scrutiny for tax evasion or tax issues. All he had to say was, yes, I was there. It was a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Just play it again, Kel. I just got to hear it one more time. It's a simple yes or no answer. Adam, he's clearly embarrassed that he was there. Maybe he should have been advised, I wouldn't go to that one, Prime Minister. I don't know. But let's just have a listen again. Simple question. David Spears on the ABC.
I want to ask you, PM, about the reports in the Nine newspapers over recent days about a private fundraising dinner. Firstly, did you attend a dinner at the home of Felix Lee in Point Piper?
Oh, look, I attend lots of functions.
What about this one?
I attend lots of functions in lots of places, including last night right here.
What about this dinner at Point Piper?
I attend lots of functions in
Why
lots
don't you want
of
to
places.
answer
ridiculous.
Well, I do. You've just said that.
Okay. All
Crazy.
Right. Hey,
They all
Adam.
do this. They all evade questions
It
and
was a
scoot
yes, no.
around it. It's not. He's not the only.
That one made me, but it was Sergeant Schultz, I Know Nothing from Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
See if you can find that, Kelsey, and insert it there.
How good's that journalist though? Just going at him, not letting him get past it.
I have a lot of time for David Spears, and I know him, and he used to be on Sky. And that show, The Insiders on the ABC, is sensational watching. It's one of the few ABC News current affairs programs I do watch. David Spears is very, very good. Well done. But I just thought that was funny, Adam. I wanted to share it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just, he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. That's what's happened.
Okay, now, you've got some news, Adam.
No, my news was that I went out to have a look at a job for the public trustee, which is an overdue storage. Someone's put all their stuff in storage. But anyway, so I go over to this little storage facility and it's all dark. It was a rainy day and I'm clambering through and I'm starting to open some boxes. And I'll send you this photo. I open this box and staring back at me, can you see that, was this rubber mask.
What?
And this rubber mask. And all I could think of...
So just quickly, just describe the mask for the audio.
Hold it up again. Hold it for longer, Adam.
So it's just a rubber mask.
Yeah.
But it's a human face.
Female face.
Yeah, fake eyelashes
and
weird
fake
red lips.
Yeah. So all I could think of is, that scene in Silence of the Lambs when Starling goes into the storage facility and finds Miss Moffat's head in the jar? You don't know that scene?
Oh, I've watched it.
Anyway, it scared the shit out of me. So anyway, I keep going through this storage facility, straitjackets,
Oh, no.
prosthetic limbs.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm going back there. I'm going back there after this to pick it all up.
Is it somebody that worked in the movie or the entertainment?
I think they might have been in the theatre, yes.
Yeah.
I think they might have been in the theatre. But, you know, it's one of those things like it scared the shit out of me.
Yes.
Right? Because I go and look at all these jobs all the time, I just say to my staff, I'm ducking out to see a job. But now I'm going, I'll be at the Belconnen storage facility. If I'm not back by 2:00, you know where to find me or send the troops.
Yeah, and Buffalo Bill will be down there. Was that his name?
He will be. Yeah, Buffalo Bill, yeah.
Wasn't that Buffalo Bill? Can you hear the lambs, Clarice?
Exactly.
So
anyway, I'm going to pick it all up this morning.
In fact, next time I talk to Shane Adam Bassett, there's a really interesting story about Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins during the making of that. She said he was really scary and he wouldn't talk to her and he wouldn't look at her. And she said maybe that was his method acting coming. I don't know, but she said he frightened her.
Yeah, he would be scared. Anyway, what was your news?
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And Kelsey can vouch for this, Adam, that I can keep a secret. Now, about 12 weeks ago, how many weeks ago? Oh, 10 weeks ago, 12 weeks ago, more maybe. My darling Holly came over to see me. She said, Dad, she came over with Tyson, her husband, and she said, Dad, I've got something for you. I've got a birthday present. I said, my birthday was in May last month. And she said, no, I've got another present for you. So she goes into her little bag and she brings out what I thought was a handle for an old-fashioned toothbrush.
Oh,
plus one.
Wow.
My little girl is expecting a baby in January.
All right. Congratulations to all involved.
And
very exciting.
She went and got she's been very, very good, and she's had all the tests, and she's had a number of what do you call them?
Ultrasounds.
Tummy rubs.
She's had lots of tummy rubs. In fact, the baby was only going to be a back rub. But anyway,
wow.
So she's expecting, but then, Adam, I had to wait because there's a certain...
he's been dying to share this news.
Yeah, sure.
Well, when Holly came over, Kelsey was here doing some work, and Kelsey came down to say hello. So Holly told Kelsey, but I didn't tell Kelsey.
We were all very surprised that Luke kept the secret, to be honest. He hasn't forgot it since as well. I feel like every day we get a, how good am I?
but Holly's really impressed because she knows I can keep a secret. But that's bad because now I'm going to be told secrets, and I don't want to be told secrets. I don't want to have to keep, I don't want to be the vault, Adam.
No,
you with me?
You don't want to be the vault.
Not when you have access to a Rode microphone.
Exactly right.
However, Adam, last week, she and Tyson, she had the blood test and another scan, and they actually wanted to find out the sex of my new grandchild. So I want you to watch this, Adam.
Right.
And I am sharing this with everyone for the very, very first time with Holly's permission. So they're on the laptop and they're waiting for the results.
Okay, let's
Here we go.
Hey, ready? Here we go. It's a boy. XY. Oh, it's a boy.
That's so good.
It's a boy. I knew it.
A baby boy.
Baby
Oh, you're
boy.
crying, Luke. Oh, he's crying.
It's so nice.
I just love the reaction, and I love Tyson. You know, when your kids get married and hitched, like I said this at Holly's wedding, and I mean it. There's a correct lid for every pot.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey's found her correct lid. Storm has, Jacob has, and Holly has. And that boy, Tyson, is the most wonderful, gentle, creative, understanding, beautiful boy. And, you know, that's all you want, Adam, isn't it? For your
Absolutely.
kids to be with the right person.
Yep.
And all our kids are with the right people, and you can't ask for more than that.
No.
And so I am a bit of emotional because I love them both so much. So there you are, folks.
It's a wonderful thing. Congratulations to all involved. Is this grandchild number 3? Good one.
Yeah, so my darling Chook, she has a little boy, Atticus.
Yep.
And Jacob has Mila.
Yep.
And she won't tell me the name they've got picked because she says, I don't want the drama from everyone saying, oh, I used to know a dickhead called that.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I had a boyfriend who ghosted me once. No. So I have no idea what the name is. But there it is. That's my news.
Fantastic news, Lukey.
What have you got coming up?
I've got a pop culture sale online at the moment. And some good stuff in there. There's some good sneakers. There's some good early movie posters. Always something happening at ehva.com.au. And also, I've got a couple of days left in dry July, folks. If you can, chuck in whatever you can. It's a very good cause, and both my partner and myself are much appreciative of everyone who has leaned in so far.
Good on you, Vice Captain. I'll let you go. He's going to get back to work from Evans Hastings. Millennial, thank you so much. We will talk again, and I'll be looking at your face again very, very soon. Thanks for listening, everyone. Give us your feedback. The Bonafide Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I can't wait for our live podcast, which is coming up.
Saturday, 1st of August, 1:30 p.m.
Be there or be square.
You'll hear it on the podcast anyway.
And keep smiling. Thank you. T's and C's apply. Always drink responsibly.
Hasta la vista.
And if you're gambling, how much are you going to lose?
Bye.
Always read the label.